everybody? Great to have you here. You can stop talking right there. I know it's still going. Look, full transparency. Willie Clone and I are at odds with one another.
Yes, we are.
Why? Because somebody brought me a hot chocolate a little bit late today, and it was a little messy, so I cleaned it up with the terrible towel that I have right here. And Willie is very upset with me. But I don't start a show without my hot cocoa. And the hot cocoa was...
Yeah, but you don't stay in the terrible towel. Look at that.
Yeah. The hot cocoa was all over the top. Not my fault. I just sit here like a good boy, waiting for the show to start.
So disrespectful.
I entrust other people with my hot cocoa. There's hot cocoa everywhere. I had a towel.
And it's
I used
sticky.
it. Sorry,
it's your
not
hot cocoa
sorry.
guy's fault. Your hot cocoa guy's fault.
You'll be out of the playoffs looking in. Take your time and wash it. What do you want me to do?
What else have you done with this towel, Craig?
Well, that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But if you want to go to my OnlyFans account, I'm sorry. It's like, can you share OnlyFans accounts the way you share Netflix accounts?
You should.
That'd be strange,
That'd be amazing.
right? Billy, is that what you're into?
I'm sorry. It's Wednesday.
All right, let's get started. Well, it's a strange show. It's special, and it's Wednesday morning. Headlines. Yeah, look at that punchable douche face right there.
Oh, man.
That's Nick Sirianni, the soon-to-be former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and the panic is really getting worse in Philly day by day. He actually had to have a conversation yesterday and answer the question, have you lost the team? Yeah. This is a team that's been locked into the playoffs for 2 months already, went to a Super Bowl last year, double-digit wins the last 2 years. Have you lost the team? You gotta love Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's a lot going on in Philly, man. And the bottom line, it starts from Nick Sirianni. I mean, to his defense, he's done everything, right? He's demoted guys, he's trying to help guys. But the second half of for the defense, they're just abysmal, right? The opponent's averaging 17 points in the second half against the Eagles, and it's not showing up. It's really bad for.
Look, sometimes you also become victimized by your own success. So they have the great run last year. They go to the Super Bowl. They lost both coordinators to head coaching jobs. That's part of the kind of monkey see, monkey do. Oh, they won there, they can win here kind of attitude in all sports. And they're paying for it right now because the guys that are currently coaching the Eagles apparently aren't very good. A.J. Brown is actually going to speak either today or tomorrow, I guess.
And say what?
I don't know.
Say what?
I don't know, but I guess he's going to acknowledge that the panic is real. Anyway, much more on the Eagles coming up throughout the show. Headline number 2, there's a chance that this Sunday is the very last game that Bill Belichick ever coaches as the New England Patriot head coach. I said a few prayers last night. Imagine for a moment that the last game he coaches as a Patriot is against the Jets.
Oh, man.
He hasn't lost to the Jets since 2015. Ooh. What a great way to end his career in New England.
I agree with that.
Of course, he was asked about it on the radio yesterday, and he said, my only focus is on the Jets. I have no other interest in anything else. I didn't even buy a Powerball ticket. So hopefully the New York Jets can end his Patriot kind of reign of terror on the AFC East.
He's been very vocal and maybe non-vocal about hating the Jets. He despises the whole Jets organization.
Yes, he does.
So for the Jets to win this game, it just means God is
real. Trevor Siemian 80-yard drive with 90 seconds left.
Because think about this. As bad as the season has been for the New York Jets, and as much as the Patriots have owned us, and that's what it's been, they are our daddy, whatever phrase you want to use, they've owned us. There'd be this small little glimmer of sunshine that would come in through the windows here behind us if it's the New York Jets that send Belichick off into whatever job he takes next with a loss.
I would love it. I mean, Belichick's been a thorn in my side my whole playing career. So the fact that he goes out with losing to the Jets, I would absolutely love it.
And your final headline, the New York Jets are actually involved with it. It's not a Jets story per se, but the Jets and Dalvin Cook have agreed to part ways going into the final week of the year. Much more in this later because it shouldn't be allowed. But the New York Jets are not going to give him the guaranteed money that he had coming his way going into Week 18. He's now an unrestricted free agent and can sign Dallas with any team, the Dallas Cowboys, that he wants to sign with. It makes sense to go to Dallas. I'm not sure the Cowboys are interested, but Dalvin Cook is now on the market.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. Thursday night against the Cleveland Browns, he didn't play a snap. right? This guy is a multiple 1,000-yard rusher and no love. It's
Right.
bad. It was bad in New York.
Shouldn't be allowed that you can cut a guy going into week 18 who's essentially on a one-year deal, and that guy can get picked up by a team that's going into the playoffs. I don't like that from an equitable balance standpoint, but it's going to happen. And if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I sign him today.
No way.
Today.
If I'm the Cleveland Browns, you sign him today.
By the way, those of you in Pittsburgh that love Willie Colon, start understanding something. He loves Cleveland. He loves those Cleveland Browns. He loves them. Anyway, we do have a great show for you today. Jerry Jones talked yesterday about the biggest weakness the Cowboys have, and it might surprise you who and what it is. Tons of football coming your way. It's Wednesday. Good morning, everybody. Hey, you know what time it is?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Subway Slice Dinner meets fresh. That's right. And because a lot of you have told me that this whole TV gig's not working out for me, I decided to join ranks with Subway, and I too am slicing meats fresh. So, oops, hang on a second. Hold on 1 second. They're very concerned that I'm going to chop my finger off. But here's the beauty of Subway Slice Dinner meats fresh is that, and we have a rule. No bloody fingers in our meat.
Right.
That's more of a Fox rule than anything. But there you go. Anyhow, thank you, Subway. And know this, whatever Subway you go to, much like here on the Carton Show, their meats are sliced fresh.
Fresh.
By the way, I love the fact that in the lower left-hand corner on your screen, they slice the top of my head off.
Right.
It's like, I can't get graphics I begged for in a week. But as soon as at a Subway, I did like, oh yeah, let's slice Craigie's head off. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
These little salt and pepper.
America's going to love it. I gotta be honest. I just love it. I just love it. I love it. I love it. Anyhow, sliced turkey for everybody. All right, let's get back to football.
Hold on 1 second. You want to talk about turkey anymore?
No,
it's not bad.
All right.
It's a little seaseaning.
Pretty good. All right. Sorry about that.
I got turkey on my shirt.
Not the first time. Hey. All right, Jerry Jones is concerned about the Dallas Cowboy running game. Let's hear from Jerry Jones, and I'll get back into football here, and I'll put my meat away.
That's to be concerned, and we should be. We should always be concerned about the run going into the playoffs. But do we have the ability to run the ball in the playoffs? Yes, we do.
Look, he's right. Obviously, sorry, we're just, we're men. It's meat. What do you want us to do? We get distracted, as you ladies. Look, here's the deal. If you're going to win a Super Bowl, it's the oldest cliche in the book. You got to be able to run the ball, or at least use passes like runs, the way Kansas City did for so long. And even later in the Brady run in New England, they were able to do as well, running backs out of the backfield, quick hits, and let's go. But the issue is it the offensive line's fault? Is it the play calling? Is it just that Tony Pollard's not very good? Whatever the case is, what Jerry Jones is saying is right. Dak, who's been the focal point of all the agita for the Dallas Cowboys, really isn't right now. They trust Dak Prescott because he's played very well in these big games. Even in the loss to Miami, Dak Prescott orchestrated a 17-play drive to give the Dallas Cowboys the lead late. Did his job, right? So now the question is, you do have a guy available in Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook had 67 carries for 200-some-odd yards with the New York Jets. It was an embarrassment. It was the biggest waste of money next to Alan Lazard the Jets spent this offseason, right? But Dalvin Cook possibly with the Dallas Cowboys, his legs are fresh, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything. I think it's lack of execution. And I also got to give credit to, the Lions defense, who had a hell of a game plan. They lit them up with pressures and overloading the box, so it made it tough for the Cowboys to execute.
So then where's your concern? Is the concern what it is for most people, hey, Dak's been great, but, or is the concern, I don't worry about Dak, but man, we can't run the ball, and that's a problem.
I think it's more a scheme for me. Like, the Cowboys did a great job of trying to implement a pull scheme where they can get pretty much Pollard on the edge where he can use his legs. But they just been struggling. So, right, at the end of the day, they let the pass open up the run. They should commit to the run early to open up the pass. And so that's something they're going to have to change and figure out. But right now, Tony Pollard is not a factor in this offense. And
right.
By the way, you let go of Ezekiel Elliott so he can be the main guy.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him.
It's fascinating to me to hear Jerry Jones talk about this because we've been talking about the fact of a run game in this offense since like week 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the entire season long we've been talking about this. And Jerry Jones is like, will we be able to run the game in the playoffs? Yes. That's like me saying, like, will I be able to speak Mandarin next weekend? Like, yes. Like,
right.
You haven't exhibited any ability to do that forever. And I'm glad you brought up Zeke because they had Zeke as number one guy and Pollard was at, like, change of pace.
Yes.
Ooh, Pollard's so good. He's so explosive. They've got a guy now, Rico Dowdle, who's the exact same thing over again.
Yep.
Where it seems like when they put Dowdle in, he's got a little bit more zit, a little more punch. And when you look at the numbers, like, look at the touches versus touchdowns. It's the same yards. He's got 1/3 of the touches in the same amount of touchdowns.
You would also have to think like Pollard's probably pressing, right? Because he's aware that
he knows what's going on, right?
He's the guy that they're depending on.
And don't forget, he's also on a franchise tag
Yes,
years. He's not guaranteed any money, next year. This is a huge year for him.
And this line for the Cowboys has been through a lot of injuries, right? They've been up and down all year.
Look, here's the deal. You know that Mike McCarthy doesn't have complete faith in their running attack because even in the game this past weekend against Detroit, Deuce Vaughn got a couple carries.
Yes, he did.
Deuce Vaughn has been inactive for them the majority of the season, so they're tinkering. They're trying to figure out who's going to give us that spark, whether it's a starting running back or a guy coming off the bench, for a carry here and carry there. They clearly don't have faith right now with one game to go in the running attack, meaning where's all the pressure go back to? Number 4, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's what happens.
I mean, the bottom line, I don't know if we had the graphic, if you could throw it up if you're ready, man. Like the Cowboys are in the middle of the road and run right there. Like they're 14th in rushing yards. So
Which is not embarrassingly bad.
Yeah, but when you have an
Super Bowl
offense,
team,
like the good Super Bowl teams or good outfits that are going into the playoffs, they all have the run game, right? Like as bad as the Eagles are, when DeAndre Swift, is a focal point of that offense, they're a better team.
For sure.
You can't say that for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and then, by the way, that number's a tad inflated without getting too in the weeds on it. A lot of those rushing yards were in games they're up by 30, late in the third quarter and said, just hand the ball off, and let's get out of Dodge and go home. So those numbers are a little inflated. But look, every team's got something. Right, like the Niners worry, we're going to have one of those weird Brock Purdy games. Baltimore's worried about injuries. Well, nothing, all that. Right, but like Miami's worried about, can we run the ball? Is our defense going to be any good?
The Rams can run the ball.
Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
So if you're a Cowboy fan, no reason to panic at all. You're going to be the 2 seed. You get 2 home playoff games before you get waxed in San Francisco. But at least you have a chance to advance to the NFC Championship game for the first time in 30 years. And that'd be a win for them.
Yeah, One thing I want to say is, in a weird way, the Cardinals beating the Eagles actually makes this less significant because there's no chance of a game in Philly.
Right.
Because if you play 2 games at home, you can run the ball at home. You're not going to have that bad weather game where you can't really throw like you used to.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, there's the repercussions of that Cardinals win are still reverberating.
I just like the fact that Dallas Nation isn't being cocky. I like that. I like the insecurity. It's sexy to me.
What?
Because if they all come out like, if Jerry Jones is like, we got the best team we've ever had, we're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl, we got a couple home playoff games, we haven't lost a game at home in a year and a half, that's unlikable to me. I like the vulnerability now of the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. I enjoy it. I can relate to it.
Because look at the last 2 weeks. It takes Dak Prescott pretty much putting the team on his back to come off the field, possibly with a win. Like, talk about the Dolphins game, 17-play drive. That was all Dak, right? Talking about the Detroit Lions game, the last drive, that was all Dak. You need to kind of balance that with a run game.
To me, the running attack, it's an issue for sure. But I'd be more concerned now, again, if I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, with the fact that it's feast or famine now. It's either CeeDee Lamb, and it's awesome,
right,
or it's like, we ain't got much going on. And I think that's, to me, a bigger problem. Why is it in a couple of these games, the Detroit game, the Miami game, it was CeeDee Lamb, CeeDee Lamb, and when the other team, whatever the terminology is, bracketed them, doubled them, 2-on-1 them, well, you get the point, right? That all of a sudden it's like, where's Ferguson? Where's Cooks?
Yeah.
Where's everybody else? And that's a bigger concern for me if I'm a Dallas Cowboys
And that
fan.
wasn't the problem in the middle of the season, especially when they came after the bye. Like, Dak was getting praised for the fact that he's peppering the ball around the field, and he was actually playing at a high level, that he was seeing the whole field. I don't know what happened towards the back half of the season, back into the season, but he's not seeing all the other touches. Like, Brandon Cook could get a couple touches.
I think he's reluctant to throw the ball. I see a lot of times the last couple games where it's a lot of double clutching, a lot of I want to throw it, but I'm not going to throw it. And I've seen that more lately than when they played the bad teams like the Giants, the Jets, New England, Carolina, all that, where it was just a free-flowing offense. I think that Dak's got in his head still, man, I don't want to throw the interception. But watch closely. And it's crazy because you're going to play nothing but good teams because you're in the playoffs, right? And the last couple weeks, if you even go back and watch like one of those rewind things that people put out there on TV, it's like,
but Craig,
it's like throw the damn ball.
He threw a pick in the game, right?
Yes, he did.
And he almost threw for 350 yards.
Right.
Like, so I don't think it's a matter of him choking with the football in hand.
But I think he's reluctant. I think he's had a great year interception-wise. He said less than 10. He's on the money.
We laughed at him.
Right. Come on, less than 20 maybe.
Yeah.
And he's on the money. But I'm telling you, in the last 2 weeks.
So you say he's going into games thinking about his.
Yes, I'm telling you that when he's in the pocket, and listen, you have to appreciate that I have a PhD level as a student of the game of football.
Gotcha.
It's well established, right? You see a lot of this, like a lot of, and I'm like, throw the damn ball. Yeah.
I didn't know how you could say he threw 350 yards. Like he's slinging the ball around the field.
250 went to one guy.
Yeah.
Let's not get
Is that a bad thing or is that football? It's not like he's tucking it and running.
One guy got all the yards. Everyone else is like, please, sir, may I have some more?
Brandon Cooks had a touchdown? Why are you hating on Dak?
I'm not. I'm just saying he's reluctant to let it rip to anybody not named CeeDee Lamb. And for me, that's a potential problem. But like I always said, I love you, Cowboy fans. I got your back.
Like you've always said.
Yeah,
well, if you're a diehard Cowboy fan right now, and you have to pick A or B.
Right.
Are you more concerned with Dak or the running game? A or B?
They gave up in the running game week 2. I really think they just completely gave up on it ever being successful, and so they only rely on Dak.
Not an answer.
Oh, Dak. That's
more concerned with Dak.
Dak. Yeah, because they don't have a running game.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, it's the run game, hands down. Like the bottom line that you couldn't run the ball against the Lions, and you struggled the last couple of weeks with no run game. Like Tony Pollard should be a featured back, and he should be like how we talk about James Cook is how we should be talking about Tony
But you don't
Pollard.
put that in week 18. It's like all of a sudden they're going to wake up and be like, oh, whoa, maybe we should establish a run game this season. Like, no.
I can see the big meeting. Tony is pretty healthy. He hasn't done much this year. All right, we got much more football coming your way. We got Sean McDermott talking about Stefon Diggs. But the real question is, can the Bills do it for a second time and beat the Dolphins? Or as they say in Buffalo, squish the fish.
Ooh.
Next on FS1.
Exactly.
Hey, real quick, we showed you yesterday how embattled the Carolina Panthers under David Tepper, who's a prime billionaire douche, threw a drink at a fan who was ticked off at another Panther embarrassment. So the NFL fined him yesterday, as they should have, by the way.
Not enough.
And the fine was $300,000. That's a lot of money. Well, unless you're David Tepper.
Right.
David Tepper's worth $20 billion. Self-made guy, give him credit for that. So there you go. Net worth $20 billion. Fine $300K. Percent of net worth, I don't even know what those numbers are. It's 1/1000th of a percentage of his worth. So they did a thing where they said for the average American of any age who works, it'd be like being fined $1.77.
Ooh.
That's how the fine impacts him, considering his net worth. $300,000 for a thrown martini.
Yeah, they pretty much fined him for his lunch on a yacht. That's what it is. The bottom line, it cost him nothing. He's not worried about $300K.
Right, but at least it goes to charity, and NFL charities do a good thing. But $300,000 for losing his temper and throwing a drink at a fan who's like, yo, I spent $75 on tickets to watch this crap.
Right.
I give the fan a lot of credit for that. I would have been in the box.
I'm calling through the window, Craig.
100%.
If a player takes something and throws it into the crowd,
Yeah.
It's
It's a problem.
probably a suspension, right? If you think about it like that.
Sure.
But the owner is going
Making
to throw
charges
things in the
pressed
crowd.
on you. There's all type of things that could have happened. I'm with you, Craig.
I also would have held him up for signed jerseys, free tickets, preferred parking.
Sweet
I would have
tickets.
held him
Yeah.
up for everything. All right, let's go to first of football, because while the Carolina Panthers do play a big role in the NFC playoff picture of their game against Tampa, the Buffalo Bills are sitting there in the AFC going, do we have a Stefon Diggs problem?
I don't know. We start with the Buffalo Bills and head coach Sean McDermott. Obviously, since Joe Brady has been the offensive coordinator, Diggs' role has been reduced in terms of touches, and head coach discussed it.
Just Josh going through his reads and going through his progressions and making sure that, we're making sure we're going through the progressions properly and getting Steph involved. As to your point, he hasn't been as involved maybe as much as we would have liked the last couple of games.
So do you expect them to sort of force the ball?
No, and some of you brought up a couple weeks ago where the Bills' offense used to be, your words, not mine, I thought you're right. Where's 14?
Yeah.
Where's 14? Where's 14? And then it's throw it up if 14, sorry.
I never know when you're going to throw it.
If 14 wasn't available. The reality is for the Buffalo Bills is that since week 10, Stefon Diggs is averaging like 37 yards a game. And that's a top 5 wide receiver in football. They're the stats since week 10. Only 4 catches a game, 37 yards, only the 1 touchdown, and you have 5 drops, which they're not making a big deal about in Buffalo. But the beauty of that is, as his touches have gone down,
They're winning.
they started winning, and other guys can now be counted on. Stefon Diggs is still their best offensive player. All due respect to Cook, who's become a go-to running back for them. But if you can now get other people involved, if I'm a defensive coordinator now trying to figure out, well, what do I do to stop the Bills? Obviously, it starts and ends with Josh Allen. But it used to be, just double Stefon Diggs, you're good.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't work.
Well, now, listen, the bottom line, since they've gotten Joe Brady into the fold, they've committed the run game to James Cook. The offense goes through James Cook. But if I'm Stefon Diggs, I would be upset. You talk about the first 9 games, he had 70 catches, 7 touchdowns. He was the prize.
But they were 500 or thereabouts. All of a sudden, you have a chance to win the AFC East, and this is what my hope is for Buffalo. And to be fair, he has not said a word.
No, he's been great.
Right.
Now,
you can win.
But he's
the
also
AFC
not
East.
injured. There's a narrative out there.
But you need. There are certain points in life. I think this is one of them for a guy who I'm sure is frustrated as a competitor who sees all these other guys putting up gaudy numbers. Dude, we're a win away from home playoff games and another division title. Now's not the time.
Let me address this because it's a really good juxtaposition between what's happening in Philadelphia and what's happening in Buffalo, right? You've got A.J. Brown and Stefon Diggs, 2 receivers who are vocal when they don't get touches,
stars.
Right? And one team is losing and one team is winning. And Stefon Diggs did address it. He said, am I frustrated? Yeah, I'm frustrated. But you know what? We're winning football games. The mission is to get to the playoffs. And I feel like that's more of a team mentality. And now we've got an A.J. Brown press conference like it's Geraldo opening a vault later this afternoon. I think it really just shows you one team on the rise and one team
my
losing.
thing is, Buffalo gets into the playoffs, right? Like the last game he played, he had 4 catches for 24 yards.
Yeah.
He gets into the playoffs, and he's still not a factor. And they lose that game.
Then you're going to hear from him. Then it's going to be either cryptic stuff or flat out press conference.
But my point is, even if he's not a factor in the playoffs and they don't go to him and they lose that game, if I'm Stefon Diggs, I'm throwing tables and
That's fine.
Yeah,
but
I'm
not now.
We're not there.
You can't do it now. Because the bottom line
But then when can you do it? Because you got one
look,
more game left, and the game you play is all or nothing.
You're going to do it exactly when you just said. If they just say they lose to the Dolphins and they don't make the playoffs, he's going to go back bleep crazy. And I'm fine with it after the fact. But in the moment, look, the value of being a go-along, get-along teammate is immeasurable.
But my thing is, you can now not change the focus, right? Because the last couple of weeks have been James Cook. They're going to go into Dolphins featuring James Cook,
100%.
right? But if I'm Stefon Diggs and I don't get the ball early, if I don't feel like I'm making a difference, I'm a flip.
I think they draw some plays again. I think he gets 3 touches in the first quarter.
Look, it's still, in my opinion, in the Bills' best interest for Stefon Diggs to be a major factor in the offense. He's a game-breaking wide receiver. By all accounts, he's a top 5 wide receiver in the league right now. But it's about the team winning games. Like, when they won that game, I was against the Dallas Cowboys, and Josh Allen completed 7 passes. Was he out there going, son of a gun, 7 passes? I mean, we only threw the ball 14 times. I mean, what's right? He was like, dude, I'll take that all day, every day, because we won. And right now, the Bills have this great opportunity to change around what's been a roller coaster season and win another division. That'd be their 4th straight AFC East.
Willie, you talk about the focus of the offense is James Cook, right? That's also the focus of the defense they're facing. I think that's going to open things up for Stefon Diggs. There was so much Diggs early in the season. I think it's like an overcorrection. I just think
it's unfair to expect this man to put on the cape on Sunday when you haven't gone to him previous weeks. Like, players play in rhythm.
Yeah.
There's a volume in which we're used to.
Now,
if we don't have that, if he drops a pass or he's not the guy on Sunday, everybody's like, see, this is why we don't pass you the ball.
Yeah.
But you haven't gone to me in 4 weeks.
I'm so glad you just said that.
Go.
Because for the first time since you joined the show 4 months ago, I can now flip the script. Because a lot of times, guys like me and Jacoby sit here and, we're NARPs, non-athletic, regular people. And guys like you and Greg Jennings and Plaxico.
The great Greg Jennings.
And Victor are like, they didn't play the game. They have no idea what they're talking about. Let me explain something to you.
Okay, I'm here.
All right?
Let's do it.
He gets paid a lot of money.
Yes, he does.
So, a lot of money.
He does.
Like generational wealth type money. Play football and shut up. How about
different.
that?
Greg is different.
Let's make sure he's in the offense early.
You have to. 4 catches for 24 yards.
When is he allowed to talk now?
We're not talking about a rookie receiver. We're talking about Stefon Diggs.
We're paying you to line up and be the best football player you can be.
Yes.
And if Cook gets all the attention, zip your lip because the team won. We're paying you a lot of money.
Well, we'll see Sunday. We'll see.
We're going to see Sunday.
Because if he doesn't get the touches he needs and they don't win that game, he has all the right to kind of burn the building.
I expect a big game from Diggs, and I expect him to win.
Anyhow, second in football, what do you got?
Moving on to second in football, Niners linebacker Fred Warner spoke about how early he recognized that, your words, the machine, Brock
not a
Purdy,
machine,
was special and poised. Here is Fred Warner.
But for, all season long, I saw something in him, and I was like, from a poise standpoint, and I was like, you know what, I really don't feel the need to say anything to him because I feel like he's got it, and like he showed that through and through last year, and I mean just continuing to do that this season, he's been amazing.
Craig's had some highs, had some lows. Are there any concerns about the machine heading into the playoffs?
None for me. He's going right to the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens. I've been saying that for months. The guy doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low, which is why he's got the nickname La Machine, the machine in Spanish. Because you throw a couple picks, all right, come back and play.
Yeah.
You throw a couple touchdown passes, come back and play. He is, no joke, like the second coming of Joe Montana and Troy Aikman in that regard. Steady guys, always find the open man, always make the right decision, and it's not about emotions with them. It's go out there and do your job.
Yeah, I mean, I would be concerned from the standpoint is if he doesn't play well, that offense takes a nosedive, right? Like, at least you're talking about having CMC, you're talking about Debo and some of these other pieces. When he's not playing well, although you can't find him anymore. So if you're talking about being a playoff outfit and there's a recipe on how to beat Brock Purdy, which the Baltimore Ravens displayed, and he's not where he needs to be, if he's not the machine, this offense takes a dive. So, yeah, there's other factors you now have to figure out. If Purdy's not where we need him to be, who can help us get over the hump and win a game in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's called Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, Young. I mean, they got tons of talent on that team. Someone else would have to step up.
But we seen when he got knocked out of the lineup, Sam Darnold was in, they weren't the same old Niners.
Fourth quarter.
Okay.
Fourth quarter mop-up crap.
Okay.
Fourth quarter mop-up crap.
Saying.
Yeah, that's all that was. That was coming in at midnight with a mop. That's all that was. And, look, he looks good with a mop.
Right.
That's all that was. That's it.
Moving on to third and football. Let's talk about C.J. Stroud and the Texans. They have a win, and they are in game against the Colts. It's essentially a playoff game between the Texans and the Colts. And here is Stroud giving a little perspective before the big game.
We've put a multitude of games together to make our team really kind of stick like glue. Like we've come into a great situation of like now we're starting to pick up our chemistry better than ever. So it's like night and day from week 2 to now.
So it's either the Colts or the Texans win and you are in. Craig Carton, I know it's early, but how do you see this one playing out?
Woo! I would want no part of this game if I'm gambling. I can tell you that. I'm not gambling.
Trap game?
No, it's just Yeah, that's a playoff game. It's on the road. C.J. Stroud's only been back for a week, since the concussion and all that. Look, whoever wins this game is going to the playoffs. Is that right?
Yes, winner you're in.
So, to me, I think you just sit back, put your hand down your pants, your other hand on a big thing of popcorn, or grab one and Coke, slice some meats fresh,
slice some fresh meats,
like I like to do, and enjoy it. I don't know how you handicap this game because I can make an argument for both sides. Either way, and I know nobody wants to hear this in Indianapolis or in Houston, but what a great season you both had.
That's what I was about to say. Like, think about that. If you're either fan base, win or lose, you have to be happy 100%. With how the season
But you're not going to be, obviously, because if you lose, you're out.
Yeah.
And despite many of you might have heard, they're not in just yet. So you win this game, you get in. So if you lose the game, I mean, you're going to be miserable because you got knocked out of the playoffs. But truth be told, both the Texans and the Colts have given their fan bases much more than they ever could have expected going into this year.
100%, especially C.J. Stroud. Nobody expected him to be this guy, right? Like, they have a quarterback for the future for the next 10 years. Like, he's changed and pretty much shaped the culture for the Houston Texans. And by the way, he's done a great job of making no-name receivers stars, right? Nobody knew who the hell Tank Dell was.
Collins.
Right, nobody knew who
Nico Collins. If you had said to me, let's say we had like a preseason meeting. We didn't, but let's just pretend like we did.
Yeah.
And we were like, hey, all right, let's just throw some ideas on the board of things you can expect first week of January. At no point would anybody have said, boy, I got to tell you, that Week 18 Colts-Texans game, woo!
Barn burner.
Boy, that's gonna be a doozy. America's gonna be sitting there waiting to see that game. Nobody would have said that, and here we are, win. And you're in.
And they put it on Saturday night. It's like the marquee matchup of the week.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I like it. What's the spread there? Texans favored?
1.5.
Ooh, on the road, rookie quarterback favored against Mr. Mullen himself, Gardner Minshew. I'm trying to figure out who I want to win that game.
Texans.
You want the Texans.
Slow your roll.
Why would you want the Texans to win?
Why would I want the Texans to
Why
win?
would you want the Colts to win?
Who would you rather watch in the playoffs as a fan?
C.J.
Stroud,
Gardner Minshew, that bubble big old helmet of his, bobbing around.
Hey, I'll be honest. I like that big old bubble head. I like it a lot, like Gardner Minshew.
That's how he looks in the helmet. Exactly how he looks.
Yeah. I got to think about that one.
Texans.
C.J. Stroud's a great story.
Texans got the better offense and the better defense.
I don't care about that. I care about me. I'm trying to think, like, what's good for me? Who do I want to watch on TV more? I got to think about that one a little bit.
I know you don't want to see Gardner Minshew.
I don't want to give you a rushed answer. So give me 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, great
I'll
teams.
give you an answer.
Great teams.
All right. Who do you want to see more in the wild card round of the AFC playoffs? The Texans or the Colts?
You know the answer, America.
Coming up, is it true that Justin Fields has been the best quarterback in football for the last 2 weeks? And will the Chicago Bears upset the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau? Next. Argument could be made that the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields are the hottest team and quarterback in the NFL over the last month. That's right, I said it.
You said it
They've
out loud.
won 4 out of their last 5 games, and the only loss was a 3-point loss to the red-hot Cleveland Browns, 20-17. So all of a sudden, Justin Fields might very well be a franchise quarterback. I can tell you this, DJ Moore, his number 1 wide receiver, thinks that his actor's name would be Timothy Allen. Let's listen to DJ Moore talk about him. Go ahead.
He's him, so I mean, he's gonna be the quarterback. I want him to be the quarterback. I said what I said. Now it's on the higher up, so it's up there. It's up to them.
Yeah, but look, he has played better football. And like I said, they have won 4 out of 5 games. And, they did split, with the Detroit Lions. And they did beat Minnesota. And they did beat, or almost beat, the Cleveland Browns. And they did beat Arizona, the team that just beat Philadelphia. So all of a sudden, Chicago's going to have a tough decision on their hands after the season. And that is, man, we got the number 1 pick. We can go get Caleb Williams or whoever your favorite quarterback is. Or trade it, get a boatload of picks, and really make our team better and make Justin Fields, a $200 million quarterback, which is the direction that's going in. But here's the real question. Can they beat the Green Bay Packers? Can they end the Packers season in Lambeau this weekend? And will they?
Yeah, I think they're going to. I was about to jump out there. No, I think you're right. Ever since he's come off his injury with the thumb, man, he has lowered his sacks, lowered his interceptions. This kid has dealt with a lot. That's what people don't understand. Multiple coordinators, new head coach. They haven't done a great job with getting him anything pieces up front, but yet he stood tall and tried to be the best he can. And he's not holding the ball no more, right? He's either running or he's letting it go. So you see there's an evolution in his game. But going forward, man, if I'm the Bears, keep him. Keep him.
The problem is the money. The problem is that it's coming up in the next 2 years where you're going to have to make a $150, $200 million decision on Justin Fields. Now, if they do beat Green Bay and knock the Packers out of the playoffs, the Chicago Bears, I think, had a good year, 8-9.
If you think about this Bears team, 6 weeks ago it was fire Eberflus, trade Caleb Williams and Drake May. It was that simple. Yep. But now this little run they've gone on has actually made it a little more tricky for the front office and some of the decisions they have to make. And I think if money wasn't a factor, they would keep Fields.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're going to put your whole franchise on possibly Caleb Williams.
You only do it because it kicks the quarterback salary down the road another 4 years. So you save a whole bunch of money. You could bring in all the other pieces, and then, cross your fingers that the quarterback you draft is the guy.
You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. That's the thing. Marvin Harrison Jr. is sitting right there. You've got these can't-miss quarterbacks. Yeah. You have a can't-miss wide receiver who's much more reliable as a draft pick than a quarterback in terms of success. You put him with Fields, that's an option that I would definitely consider.
It's funny we're at that stage because I remember about 6 weeks ago when Justin Fields came out and said, why do we suck? The coaching sucks. Remember that?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they've won 4 out of 5 games. He's healthy. You got DJ Moore as a rock star, number 1 wide receiver. And if I'm a Bears fan, I'm like, whoa, if I end the season not just 8-9, but I can knock my nemesis right out of the playoffs, that's like a Super Bowl win. Yeah, it's
with
like
Justin Fields.
I view it the same way, like the New York Jets can end Bill Belichick's Patriots career.
Oh, I hope.
God, I hope that happens. And a terrible year for us.
Yep.
But if I'm a Chicago Bears fan and I'm not going to the playoffs, what's the next best thing? I'm the spoiler that stops the Packers from making the playoffs. I would get great joy out of that.
Yeah, listen, I think Justin Fields is a damn good quarterback. I think right now it's about maturation. A lot of times we don't give ball players enough time, right? Especially quarterbacks. It has to be like instant coffee. Pour it, you want to drink it, you want success right away. The kid has grown up. He continues to grow up right before our eyes. The problem is, what are you going to do about this offensive line? Or you continue to put pieces around him where he can be the best version of himself?
I tell you, I'm rooting for Chicago. I hope Chicago just curb stomps the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau, kind of like what Baker Mayfield did to them a couple weeks ago. I hope Justin Fields has the same exact type of game. All right, from that, it's Wednesday. Jacoby's here. It's time for the panic button.
Here we go. We got the panic button here. Now, this is a tricky one, Craig. Just go with me here. They've dominated an NFC team and an AFC team back-to-back weeks.
I'm going blind.
Domination.
I'm going blind.
Is it time to panic for every other AFC team because the Ravens are so dominant?
Oh, I take that back. No.
What are you talking about?
No.
You beat the Dolphins and the Niners. Okay, now we're dancing with Muppets. With Muppet dance. Okay.
Look, I think the Ravens are clearly the best team in the AFC. And
in
right
the
now,
NFL, Craig.
Okay, they're not favorites to win the Super Bowl, so they're probably the second best team.
13-3.
Here's the deal. The Bills aren't scared of Baltimore. Kansas City wouldn't be scared of Baltimore. The Browns put a 30-burger on Baltimore.
That was earlier.
In Baltimore.
I agree with you, Craig.
Earlier.
Now, I think the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl, don't get me wrong. But you asked me a very specific question.
Panic?
Are the other AFC teams panicked about the Ravens' success?
No. I agree with you, Craig.
No, sir.
I agree with you, Craig.
What do you mean? Did you not witness this team beat up one of the best offense in the NFC and the best offense in the AFC?
Yeah.
But they just beat them up. They smacked them up.
Let me ask you a question, Willie. When you played for the Pittsburgh Steelers,
yes,
were you panicked,
when
New England was the number 1 seed?
Yeah, because they had a man named Tom Brady.
You did panic?
Yeah.
You panicked.
Yeah, a little bit. Did you the resume speaks for itself, but you talk about what this defense is able to do. Not only takeaways, get home with their front four. They're making plays on defense. They're scheming guys up. They're neutralizing some of the best. They neutralized the big fish in Tua, and they put to sleep the machine in Brock Purdy.
Yes.
So why aren't you afraid?
Because I don't live my life
panicking. We're not panicking.
I don't think NFL teams are afraid or panicking.
Craig, this one's simple. 2 words. Nick Sirianni.
Oh, what about him?
Can I I want to. No,
Here you go.
Belly flop on the damn thing.
I want to hit it once. I want to hit it twice.
Oh, baby.
It's so nice, I'm going to hit it thrice.
Oh,
Look, they started panicking 5 weeks ago.
Yes,
When they weren't playing great football, and they embarrassed and humiliated Jalen Hurts by making him fall down, telling him how to fall down and not fumble. You've got players-only meetings. You've got players publicly saying the coaches are morons. You've got a terrible loss to Drew Lock and Seattle, a bad loss to Arizona, and a team that once stood tall at 10-1 and was like, we're the Eagles. We're making another run. You just hate us. Use guys to blah, 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 all the crap.
Yeah.
While they're climbing grease poles on New Year's Eve and dressing up like fat women from New Orleans on New Year's Day. They are nothing but a panic machine right now, and that boat is taking on gobs and gobs of water.
Yeah, I'm panicking with you, Craig. And that's the bottom line. There's nobody happy in Philly. Big Dom, A.J. Brown, Nick Sirianni, like on and on. There's more people that are disgruntled, pissed off about the state of the Eagles.
Isn't it great, though?
It's brutal,
Like, if
man.
there's a city you want to watch from afar melt down, there's no city better than Philadelphia. It's really great.
And it seems like everything they're going through is fixable. Run the damn ball.
Yeah.
Bottom line, run the damn ball, get off the field.
We have
third
our
down.
guys. Where's our guys? We got the new offensive coordinators for the Eagles available to us.
Right.
Dude, they're actually considering, the talk in Philly right now is we might have to fire Nick Sirianni after this year.
That's wild.
Like, the dude went to a Super Bowl.
last
Oh, it started
year.
10-1 this year.
They're going back to the playoffs, and that's the talk right now on Sports Talk in Philly. I think we got to fire the head coach.
Yeah, but the problem is you let the door open for the division with the Cowboys, and now you realize that the Niners got the number 1 seed, and you're sitting there scratching your butt at home, bro. You're like, what the hell happened to my Eagles?
We got
Not
time
just
for
that,
one
pardon
quick
me.
one.
With Dallas obviously also most likely winning the division against Washington this weekend, Philly's on the road, which might actually be the
They're
best
not
thing
winning
for
on the
them.
road.
One quick one. Craig, the Epstein list might drop. Is it
How did
time
we
to
get here?
panic if you are NFL owners?
Well, I just want to be clear. No reason for me to panic.
Right. Right.
I'm clean on that one. But if I'm a certain billionaire owner,
Right.
and I'm not saying any names, but if I was a billionaire owner,
Do you salt people with water?
I might
Okay.
be a little concerned.
Yeah.
I might be a teeny bit concerned.
I'm making fast guilty if you hit the panic button.
Just a little touch. or just do the Jimmy Kimmel thing and deny it. I'm just saying, I saw it yesterday.
Yeah, we all
right,
saw it.
We got much more coming your way. We got your mid-show headlines. We got the situation in Philly, which is not getting better, it's getting worse. We got Jerry Jones talking Dallas Cowboys. And will the Chicago Bears finally wake up on a Monday morning and be able to say, the Green Bay Packers no longer own us?
Ooh.
All that's coming up right after this on FS1.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Carton Show. We have your early morning headlines. And Nick Sirianni was straight up asked by a reporter if he had lost the team.
Wow.
And here's what he had to say.
Nice.
No, I'm not concerned about that. We're just looking to get back on the right track. Last week against the Giants, got back in the win column. Obviously, didn't happen the exact same way we wanted it to happen, but got in the win column. And then, hey, we dropped this one this week. And the next thing is just to go back to work, and I'm not concerned about that.
I can't believe I'm asking this, Craig.
Yeah.
But could an early playoff exit cost Sirianni his head coaching job in Philly?
Yeah, right. Well, it comes down to, the leadership council of the Eagles, the veteran players like A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, those guys, Brandon Graham, Kelsey, Lane Johnson. There's a lot of veterans I've seen, a lot of wars on that team. If they go to Jeff Lurie, the owner, and Howie Roseman, the GM, and they say, look, you got a problem with the coach in this locker room, then you bet your ass you could get fired. Remember, this is a franchise that said goodbye to Andy Reid despite 5 NFC Championship game appearances and a Super Bowl appearance. This is a franchise that said goodbye to Doug Peterson not all that long after winning a Super Bowl.
Good points.
So the fact is, Nick Sirianni's not safe. And it's easy to say, well, wait a minute. The guy has not had a bad year at all. They're in the playoffs, and if they decide to run the ball, I wouldn't be shocked if the Eagles win 1 or even 2 playoff games and even get back to an NFC Championship game. Because who else is much better than them, right? But the reality is that in the moment, a lot of decisions get made, and they get made based on emotions and not pragmatic thought. And that's why right now there's enough blood and chum in the water where if they lose to the Giants this weekend, probably not, but certainly on the table. If they lose, like you said, in the first round of the playoffs, I would not be shocked. Look, I lived in Philly, and I did sports talk radio in Philly for 5 years. There will be the desire for somebody's head on a stick, and that somebody would be Nick Sirianni. They love Howie Roseman there. They love Jeff Lurie there now. But the one guy that you're going to blame is going to be Nick Sirianni. So he is not 100% safe. Now, the flip side of that, of course, is he also can't worry about it. Go out there and beat the Giants, win your first playoff game, and take a breath. But I'm giving you a roadmap for how Nick Sirianni gets fired. You lose to the Giants, you embarrass yourselves again, and you lose in the first round to whomever you play.
Packers or whoever.
And now all of a sudden, you've got the mob saying, we need a new head coach.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you the guy they're going to request. And it makes total sense because it's almost like when Pamela Anderson got divorced from Tommy Lee.
Oh, okay.
Every good-looking guy with money is like, I'm going to shoot my shot.
Yeah.
I'm going to take my shot. You have to trust me, guys. 20 years ago, this was relevant, okay? Just trust me on this one. You can even look it up, okay? And all of a sudden, Pamela Anderson in her prime is going to be available. And her name is Bill Belichick. Because if I'm an Eagle fan and things go south the way they look like they're starting to go for Nick Sirianni, and New England announces, we are parting ways with Bill Belichick. Yeah, we all know the Chargers are on the phone in a minute, and they try to get him out west. But if I'm Jeff Lurie, oh, by the way, where's Jeff Lurie from? New England.
New England, yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's right. He's a Massachusetts guy, right? And he's won a Super Bowl. And he's beloved now because he brought Philly a Super Bowl, right? And I think I've got all the pieces. I've got A.J. Brown. I've got the quarterback. I've got the running back, although they won't use him, in DeAndre Swift. I've got an average defense, but Belichick's a genius when it comes to defensive game plans. If I'm Philly and it doesn't go right, I'll be the first team to try to beat the Chargers to the phone and bring Bill Belichick in, and they would love him in Philadelphia.
Especially when you talk about Matt Patricia there as well. So it makes sense. But overall, people don't understand. Like, players adjust well, but players don't do well with inconsistencies. And when you talk about Nick Sirianni from a standpoint, he's been inconsistent. Either he's firing somebody or he's hiring somebody, or he's promoting somebody, or his message is one thing, it's another. He's always up and down, and that's what the reflection on the show or the product on the field shows. They're not consistent as a ball club. Offensively, they're either doing well or they're not. Either running the ball well or they don't. Defensively, in the second half, in the second half of the last 3 games, they've been outscored 68-30.
That's exactly. When you give up 30 points in 7 out of your last 10 games, and you're the worst defense in all of football over the last 2 months, the fans see it. Like, they know what the product is. Yes, you're a playoff team. Yes, I would not be surprised if the Eagles win a playoff game. They're a good team.
Bucks, most likely.
But I'm telling you right now, the addition of Bill Belichick to the potential coaching pool means I don't care what you did a year ago. I don't care what you did 2 years ago. That guy's now available. I want Pamela Anderson, and I'm going to shoot my shot to go get her. That's all this is.
I'm also putting myself in Sirianni's shoes. Like, we've all seen the blow-ups on the sidelines over the weeks. There's always reports about A.J. Brown being unhappy. Imagine going to a press conference and someone says, hey, are you concerned you've lost the team? That's like us 3 hanging out with beers, and you guys look at me and be like, hey, Jacoby, are you concerned you've lost the respect of your family? I'd be like, where's that coming from?
But when you see blow up,
I just want to say.
I have for good reason, but you guys don't know about it.
Are there listening devices in my office?
Right. But when you see blow ups on the sideline with him and Hassan Reddick and him, pretty much looking disgruntled, as an owner, you're like, this got to change. Like, look at this. This is him. This is him and his star outside linebacker, defensive end, who he needs, by the way, because they can't sack the quarterback.
And that was during a win, by the way.
Exactly.
2 weeks ago against the New York Giants.
And that's the sideline. That's what you got to see every Sunday on Philly.
Yeah,
him arguing with his players.
And the point that Willie's making is a good one. It's the defense that's yelling at him. It's the offense that's yelling at him.
A.J. Brown ain't talking to him.
Everybody's yelling at the guy.
Devontae
and the other good point is they're up by 8 against the Giants.
With 26 seconds left.
With 26
and
seconds
they're fighting
left.
each other.
Right.
Like, seriously.
And I'll tell you this. The fact that reporters went up to him and said, are you losing the locker room, means that guys are chirping.
Oh, 100%.
Because I did it. I traveled with the Eagles. I covered the Eagles. I know Philly well. Guys will come up to you with agendas and try to start feeding a narrative that that they know. I'll then say on the radio, or the newspaper guys will print. There are enough rumblings right now that for a reporter to say to the coach, are you concerned about it? It means that a number of guys are now chirping to reporters, hey, the problem here is the head coach. Here's what the hell he's doing.
Well, on top of that, listen, I've been in that situation. When you don't like the head guy, that's when little pockets form throughout the team.
Remember when he used to call me?
That's when pockets used to call. Don't do that to me out there. Listen, that's when pockets form without the team. That's when it gets like, it turns into a Mean Girls club, right? Because it becomes packish and people start going out and pretty much talking bad about the head coach. That's bad football this time of year. Bad.
Yep. Moving on to our second headline, and that involves a franchise called the New York Jets. There is some news with the Jets. They have mutually agreed to part ways with Dalvin Cook. What that means is they forego his guaranteed money moving forward, and he is now free to sign with another team. What does this tell you about the state of your franchise, Mr.
Well, listen, I give him credit for giving a player that they've no real connection to an opportunity to go latch on with a playoff team and maybe win a couple playoff games. So I respect the fact that, they sat down with Dalvin and allowed him to do it. This didn't work from jump. Unfortunately, and we were all excited that Dalvin Cook was coming in. Breece Hall coming off the ACL surgery, but they never used him. And to be fair, when they did use him, he wasn't very good.
Nope.
The guy's allergic to the end zone, which is bad, right? Only 67 rush attempts. He barely. I mean, look, the numbers speak for themselves, dude. 3 yards a carry gets you kicked out of the NFL quickly. The bigger picture thing for me here, if I can get on my soapbox for a second, is that this shouldn't be allowed.
No.
You shouldn't be allowed to cut a guy. Obviously he's on the last year, a 1-year deal. Even if he forgoes the guaranteed paycheck in Week 18, because his contract was actually $5.8 guaranteed with incentives, he could have made $7 million. So it's like a $350,000 hit he takes by not playing Week 18 for the New York Jets. The hope, of course, is that he makes up some of that wherever he goes now, and he will get picked up by a playoff team. Cowboys, pick your favorite team, doesn't matter. But somebody's going to pick him up because they're going to blame the Jets for his performance, not him. But I have a problem with it from a competitive standpoint, because if you're allowed to do this, that means every team out there, GMs can pick up the phone to other GMs and say, hey, you got John Doe, who's got on a 1-year deal in the last year of a contract. Boy, we could really use him. Any shot you guys can figure out an out? Because now you're going to have this influx. I know Lyle Collins is going to be signed this week. Yep. Dalvin Cook's going to be signed this week. I'm sure 5 or 6 other guys. Maybe not the notoriety of a Dalvin Cook. But you should not be allowed to cut a guy in Week 18 to let that guy now go to a playoff team. It messes up the competitive balance of the playoffs. And while I appreciate the Jets doing it, because it's good for them reputationally with veterans out there, the NFL shouldn't allow it.
Yeah, but I like it from the standpoint because this is the Jets that failed Dalvin Cook, right? When they brought him along, he was supposed to be the feature back. They didn't expect Breece Hall to be as ready as early as he was,
sure.
Right? So he kind of was forced to the background. But if you're the Cleveland Browns, listen up, Cleveland. Go get Dalvin Cook.
I got no problem with
because Kevin Stefanski, who was the offensive coordinator in Minnesota in 2019, had Dalvin Cook as a running back. Dalvin Cook started to have his best years underneath Kevin Stefanski.
Sure.
So if you talk about Kareem Hunt, Ford, now possibly Dalvin Cook, you don't have to worry about old man Flacco. Now it's just hand the ball off and let the dogs eat up front.
And remember, because he only touched the ball 67 times, he's good.
He's healthy.
He's healthy. His legs are good. He was injured when he first came in. It was a shoulder injury, and that's fine, too. So I'm with you. The Cleveland Browns make a lot of sense. I think the Dallas Cowboys make sense. Matter of fact, I think the Rams make sense. I think there's a lot of teams right now. You can add a guy that went over 1,000 yards 4 straight years, is now healthy for back-to-back years, and the Jets were, a dysfunctional mess all year. I'm not going to blame Dalvin Cook's performance on trying to run 67 times behind the worst offensive line in football and a quarterback that doesn't know how to play NFL football. I would be all over Dalvin Cook if I'm any of those teams.
Well, Craig, I just want to double down on what you said. This should not be allowed. This should be illegal. This opens yourself up for tampering and collusion across the board. Because if you're a team like the Jets, guess what? All these GMs know each other. They can call each other and say, you know what? You cut Dalvin Cook, we'll sign him, and we'll take care of you down the road.
But at the end of the day, listen, if you're the Jets, getting rid of Dalvin Cook was the best for Dalvin Cook because Dalvin Cook went there because of Aaron Rodgers. Once Aaron Rodgers failed him, it wasn't his fault. And then you didn't give him an opportunity to get better throughout the season. There was multiple packages that he should have been a part of, and he wasn't.
Not the issue.
So look, let the man go eat. Why waste his career?
He made $5.5 million to do nothing. So I'm up begrudging it. Good for him.
Yeah.
He got a great contract. He made all that money. It's in his bank account. The point is, there should be a cutoff. I don't care what.
Let me do it.
But it's good for the playoffs.
Really,
if featured guys are able to join.
You're the player. We're the fans, right? And Craig, you always say like the picture of the fans. Imagine you're a Rams fan.
Yeah.
You're playing the Cowboys week 1, and they bring in Dalvin Cook all of a sudden.
Okay.
That does not seem fair.
But you're still the Cowboys, right? Like you shouldn't be worried about.
The only flip side of that argument is that the Rams could have done it, right? Why didn't they? And then the Cowboys could bitch about it. I just think there needs to be a cutoff where you can no longer acquire guys that aren't on your practice squad or on already with the team. Because all of a sudden, I'm going to take 30 guys now who are towards the end of their contract or in the last year of your contract. I'm going to cut them. I'm going to save the money. And all of a sudden, you're going to have an all-star team going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll do you one better. Let's just say
it doesn't work like that.
Let's say I'm in one of those weak conferences like the NFC South, the AFC South, and I limp in, I'm 8-9, right? I'm 9-8, whatever the case may be, and I'm not nearly as good as anybody I'm going to play. But man, I'm in the playoffs, right? All of a sudden, on a flyer, I got to win 3 games to go to a Super Bowl. So it's not going to cost me all that much money. I'll go bring in 17, veteran guys who just got cut by their team, and I'm going to go into the playoffs, a totally new team with talent.
Yeah, but it's not a video game. This is real life. Like the guy, no matter who you bring along, they still have to learn the offense, get adjusted, and become a guy with wherever program system they're a part of. So this is not just a plug-and-play type guy. Like they still have to get acclimated.
Meanwhile, there's one other headline. I'm just going to give it to you, Jacoby, if you don't mind.
Please.
There's a dude on the Colts. He's a wide receiver. His name is Isaiah McKenzie. Have you guys seen this? You know who he is?
Yeah.
Right? So Isaiah McKenzie had this really weird kind of press conference yesterday in which he had to come out publicly, all right, and set the record straight. And he did it via social media. All right, a couple of reporters there with the Colts got to see him as well. And he made this point. It's 2024, so let's start fresh. First things first, I did not kill a bald eagle. That story is false.
I did not kill a bald eagle.
What the hell does that mean?
Like, that might be the most random tweet I've ever seen in my entire life.
Accused of that?
He was suspended for a few games. There's a lot of mystery around it, and apparently there were some rumors that he killed a bald eagle, which led to the suspension.
Yeah, and by the way, you're not allallowed to kill a bald eagle. It's a protected species.
Big deal.
Because it's our country's
You go to
bird.
jail. You can go to jail for a year.
You shouldn't go to jail.
That's what they
for
said.
it.
$100,000 fine.
As long as you eat it, I think you're fine.
Eagle?
But it's a bird.
How do you prepare
it's a
an eagle? Yeah.
In any event, Isaiah McKenzie's not the only guy starting off 2024 looking to set the record straight. There's a bunch of other guys as well. The first guy is Tyreek Hill. He also wanted to set the record straight, and he confirmed yesterday he did not get a vasectomy.
No, we kind of knew that.
Yeah, Antonio Cromartie did. It just didn't work.
Yeah,
but Tyreek Hill did not get a vasectomy. 3 kids, 3 women in a 4-month span. That's getting the job done.
It's called being active.
That's called work.
That's work.
That's right.
Works fast.
From the hips down.
Yeah, there you go. Kenny Pickett wanted to set the record straight. He really had no problem at all being a backup, just not for Mitchell Trubisky or Mason Rudolph. He was like, look, I'll be a backup if like Ben comes back, but not for these clowns.
Yeah.
And of course, he's now going to be the backup for Pittsburgh's game against the Baltimore Ravens. And the third one, I wanted to say this on behalf of the show, on behalf of Jacoby, on behalf of Willie. None of us are on the Epstein list.
None of
I want
us.
to make sure that's clear.
Trust and believe.
I just want to make sure that's clear.
I don't
I'm
think
trying
so.
to set the record straight on that. I
appreciate
can't
that.
speak
Thank
for
you.
Jimmy Kimmel, but I can speak for the 3 of us.
Yes.
We are not on that list.
Not on the list.
Zach, maybe. Maybe, possibly. Possibly one of our producers, Zach. But again, I only speak for the three of us.
I'm not on the list.
Nope.
Like it's such a random thing. I just want to announce I didn't
kill a bald eagle.
Yeah.
Like, who said you did?
What happened?
That's a disgruntled woman somewhere.
But he tweeted like somebody has been calling him like, "Hey, did you kill that bald eagle?"
Yes.
Like what? It's the most random thing to tweet in the world.
Yeah, it would be funny if you go to Isaiah's house and he's got a stuffed bald eagle
right there.
Like, swear it's not mine.
It's just
Yards.
very patriotic.
Where did that come from?
Very patriotic.
All right, we got much more coming your way. Dallas Cowboys, of course, concerned about their running game. Jerry Jones talking about it. Little man on the street stuff with Cowboy fans. And what's their biggest concern? I don't like the word weakness, but okay. Is it Dak Prescott? Is it the running game? Or maybe it's something else. We'll get into it right after this. Hey, look, Dallas Cowboy fans, as you know as a rule, are not the brightest people in the world. It comes with the Texas Warrior. It's just a fact. I'm sorry about that. Kind of like Jackson, New Jersey, and Six Flags. Not the brightest people in the world. That being said, there was a guy on the street, man on the street kind of stuff. And the question is, are you a diehard? And what college did your franchise quarterback go to? Dak Prescott, the guy you all love. And then hilarity ensued. Listen to this and watch this. Go ahead.
I'm a diehard.
Did Dak Prescott go to college? Where did Dak Prescott go to college?
I don't know.
Die hard.
Where did Dak Prescott go to college?
Oh, you got me on that one.
Diehard.
Where did Dak Prescott go to college?
I think Michigan, but no. Memphis. Diehard.
Where did Dak Prescott go to college?
Texas State.
To be fair, though, 4 hot girls and a dude with a chain around his neck. Like, we weren't in a library during that interview. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he wanted an excuse to talk to hot girls.
I was like, stripper, Hooters girl,
MILF.
guy with the bicep tattoo of a chain link fence.
But, I mean, you can't call yourself a diehard, right? You should be fine, fella. Like, there should be something.
You should probably know where your franchise quarterback after 8 years went to college. Like I said, stripper, Hooters girl, guy with the barbed wire tattoo on his little bicep.
Yep.
The whole thing. Yeah. All right, here's the deal with the Dallas Cowboys, right? The Dallas Cowboys beat Washington this week, and they're going to do that. They win the NFC East. Mm-hmm. They get the number 2 seed. That means you're playing at least one home playoff game. If you win that one, bang, you get another home playoff game. But there's a concern now. Every team's got little concerns, like the Chiefs are worried about wide receivers catching the ball. San Fran's worried about a bad performance from Brock Purdy. The Eagles are worried about everything, and on and on and on, right? The Cowboys now, it seems like it's one of two things. Since we're at home, we're not worried about our rushing defense because that only sucks on the road, not so much at home. But are we worried about our inability to successfully run the football, or are we worried about Dak Prescott in a big spot? Let's start with Jerry Jones. He was asked about the running concerns with the Dallas Cowboys. Here's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
That's the place to be concerned. And we should be. We should always be concerned about the run going into the playoffs. But do we have the ability to run the ball in the playoffs? And yes, we do.
Yeah, but the question is, do you? Mm-hmm. I know you want to believe that you do, but there's obviously, it's not been a good year for Tony Pollard. They have not run the ball all that well week after week after week. And when I try to handicap, teams and matchups and all that stuff, the first area of concern for the Cowboys is running attack. The second area of concern is getting other wide receivers involved.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys only go as their passing game goes. That's the bottom line. But when you talk about what happened against the Lions, man, the Lions came with a game plan. It was pressures and load the block up. And here goes the Lions defense pretty much putting the nails to Cowboys offense. Like, this is Tony Pollard getting tackled in the background. The Lions had 6 tackles for losses behind the line of scrimmage. So this is not being able to block it up, and Tony Pollard not being able to make hay. Like, the Cowboys thought they was going to have like a pulling scheme where they could attack the C gap and get home. That didn't happen all game. And by all accounts, Tony Pollard was pretty much the feature back, right? They got rid of Zeke for him to be the guy. He hasn't been the guy, and this happened all game versus the Lions. The Lions owned the Cowboys at the line of scrimmage, but it came down to Dak and CeeDee Lamb.
Now, I know what Cowboy fans are saying right now. They're like, hey, you dummies, he's going to have a 1,000-yard season. That's not a big deal anymore.
No.
You're playing 17 games. Right now, Tony Pollard's got 935 rushing yards. He'll probably get over 1,000. He's averaging less than 60 yards a game.
Yeah.
So your running attack has not been good.
So when you ask the question, what's the biggest concern? For me, it's actually not the running game because they never had a running game all season. They do not rely on the run, they rely on the pass. My biggest concern is something that I saw in the Lions game. Had nothing to do with the Lions defense. It was Mike McCarthy with the ball and the lead under 2 minutes. The Lions have one timeout, and they possess the ball for 24 seconds and throwing it down the field. And this is something that Mike McCarthy has done for years. Like it's Dak is a concern, and Mike McCarthy clock management in a big spot in the playoffs.
So if we're going to rank concerns, it's a good one. You've got the rushing attack, which isn't all that great.
Yep.
You've got just the Dak history. And you've got the Mike McCarthy history.
McCarthy's number one for me.
Yeah, because in Green Bay, the bugaboo for Mike McCarthy, despite winning a Super Bowl, was idiotic decisions, late in games, clock management, timeouts, pass plays, run plays, all that. We saw that, as Jacoby just said, late in the game this past week against the Detroit Lions, a chance to take another 40 seconds off the clock, make the Lions obviously burn all their timeouts, all the things that we talk about. So if it's the running attack, is it Dak and the passing game, or is it Mike McCarthy?
McCarthy in a big spot.
Mike McCarthy is your biggest concern. How about you?
Well, for me, listen, Mike McCarthy's definitely eccentric when it comes to his time management.
Eccentric is a very nice way of putting it. But very nice way of putting it, William.
For me, it's the run game because that's not a balanced offense.
Yeah.
Right? And if you go into the playoffs, you need a balanced offense. You need to be able to pass the ball, and you damn sure got to be able to run the ball, and they damn sure can't run the ball.
I'll give you an example of this. If I don't mean to put you guys on the spot, I looked it up. I did not know the answer. It's okay if you get it wrong. I'm
definitely get it wrong.
This is not to embarrass anybody at all. If you want, I'll bring one of the other guys up and see if they can answer it, okay?
No. Okay.
Here's the deal. If you had to take a wild guess, the leading Dallas Cowboy player with rushing touchdowns this year has how many after 16 games?
Who and how many?
I'm going to say
I'll tell you.
Rico Dowdle and 4.
Okay, it's Tony Pollard and 5.
That's right, yep.
5.
Wow.
5. The leading touchdown guy on the ground for the Dallas Cowboys has 5 touchdowns in 16 games. That's a problem.
Yeah, I thought
because I tell you what that means. What that means is, for a team, if you guys remember all the way back in September, the question about the Dallas Cowboys was red zone offense.
Yes, sir.
They could not get the ball into the end zone. And then all of a sudden, you're playing a lot of bad teams, and you're running up the score, and you're putting 40 burgers on everybody at home, right? And no one pays attention to the warts because you're winning.
Right.
And winning makes everybody look good. And now here we are in the precipice of the playoffs. And now all those demons come rushing back to the forefront because it's been so damn long since the Cowboys got to an NFC Championship game and or a Super Bowl. And then you start looking at the warts. And like, oh, man, you got one on your elbow. Oh, you got that whitehead on your back.
Yeah.
And I didn't care about it because you're a good lover and you treat me right. So I just leave her alone because I'm satisfied, right? Well, all of a sudden, now it means something.
Yeah.
Now we're in the playoffs,
the lights
right?
are on.
Exactly right. Right. So the reality now is if I get the ball inside the 20, heck that, I'm inside the 10.
Yeah.
I know full well if I'm playing against the Dallas Cowboys, I ain't got to worry about Tony Pollard.
No.
I'm worried about the pass because they don't run the ball for touchdowns.
You saw it in the last drive against the Dolphins.
I just broke that down like a pro.
Right? The last drive against the Dolphins, it wasn't feeding Tony Pollard. It wasn't Eduardo. It was Dak really in the pocket, making decision after decision, forcing a PI to continue drive, or just finding Brandon Cook or whoever going scraping across the back of the end zone. So if you're going into the playoffs right now, if you're solely relying on Dak, you're not going to the Super Bowl.
And I'll do one better. Case in point, not this past week, but the week before that. Opening drive of the game against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Dallas goes right down the field. Good mix of run and pass. All those scripted plays. Everybody's looking great. And then 1st and goal from the 3. And what do?
Fullback.
They decide now is a good time to give the fat fullback a chance to score.
It's an eccentric play call by Mike McCarthy. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Very eccentric.
Very eccentric.
You're like, wait a minute. We just went 73 yards.
Yeah.
We're right on the doorstep. We're going to come out hot. We're going to put a touchdown touchdown on the board. And now we're going to give the ball to a guy who has not touched the ball in a month and a half.
Yeah, it was nonsense. And then the bottom line.
That's why he might be right. Mike McCarthy might be the bigger concern.
It's my biggest concern. And if you think about last year with Ezekiel Elliott, Pollard was that sort of like change of pace back, and he was so successful. And the Cowboys said themselves, you know what? Our backup is so good. Let's make him the featured guy. And it's been a mess. And now they've got Rico Dowdle, who is like kind of has a little more pop than Pollard does. Look at the touchdowns. You said 5 versus 4 touchdowns. I totally should know the answer because I asked for this graphic 4 hours ago. but look at the touches versus touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like now it just feels like if I'm a Cowboy fan or even a Cowboy coach, I'm thinking, maybe our backup is the guy again. Maybe it's Dowdle. Dowdle runs a little harder than Pollard does.
Yeah, that'd be a tough thing if I'm Tony Pollard and you're taking me off the field on first and goal situations. But you want to talk about, guys being pissed at coaching staffs? I'd be pissed. Much more in the Dallas Cowboys coming up. It is Wednesday. It is time for a little segment we like to call
What the Wednesday.
All right, here we go. The most maligned guy in the entire NFL right now is the referee from that Cowboy Lion game, Brett Allen and his crew. Well, guess what? The NFL said, you guys suck. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to reward you.
Oh!
Yes.
We're going to make you the officiating
No!
In a bigger game.
What are you doing?
In a Saturday standalone game.
Big prime time.
Steelers-Ravens. That guy is the official for a game that's going to determine whether or not your Pittsburgh Steelers get into the playoffs, buddy.
There we go.
Your team. It's all on that guy, Brett Allen. How do you feel about that?
If you hate Pittsburgh, just say it. Like, why would you give the worst officiating crew one of the biggest games of my life?
And again, there's 2 games on Saturday. It is a standalone game, no competition. 15 to 20 million people are going to watch it. Pittsburgh trying to get in, and the NFL's like, I've got a great idea. You know who should be the officiating crew for this? That guy.
Do you know how many insignificant games there are this weekend?
Yes,
so many games. You can talk. Like, no, I didn't know Brad Allen's name until last week. You could have tucked it into a nice little game that no one cares about, no one's watching, but nope. Prime time, baby.
Jets, Patriots?
Yes.
You don't want to send the worst coup to that, right? Like, it's mind-boggling. Like, Tomlin, do something.
Hey, NFL.
What the? Mike Tomlin's Raiders?
How did Mike Tomlin do something?
Jesus.
Hey, NFL.
What the?
All right, let's go to the college ranks. But he'll be a pro next year. That's Jim Harbaugh, head coach of Michigan. After Michigan beat Alabama to advance to Monday's national title game. The mom and dad, Jim Harbaugh's parents, were sidelined.
They're cute.
And they
Big
did a very interesting interview. Here's the question going into the interview. Could you tolerate her voice for more than 3 minutes in your house? Play the interview.
Are you kidding me? They won! What's better than that?
We have a thing in our family that we use for a long time. And it goes like this. Who's better than us? Nobody!
Oh, my God. Sometimes positivity.
I want to be kind because they're old.
No.
And that's somebody's mama, too. Like,
I just don't have it in me. Ugh.
Yeah, that was right there. There's something about unabashed positivity that makes me feel so negative towards it.
But, think about what the family mantra is. Who's better than us?
Nobody!
Yeah, mom needs a.
I'll say it. Harbaugh's.
What the?
Yeah, obviously parents enjoying their son's success. All good, but that voice, yikes.
Yeah. Pipe down, Mom.
They once asked the question, and the question went like this. I'm going to get in trouble.
Craigie.
You love it when the little angel and the devil are like, Craig, wait a minute. What?
The devil always wins.
The devil and the little angel like, what are we doing, Craig?
The question used to be, if Larry Bird didn't have a penis, what would he look like? All right, let's fast forward. Let's rewind to last night.
How did we get there?
I was Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Maybe the greatest shooter in the history of college basketball. Down by a tie game, 73 all. From the logo to win the game. But it shouldn't have counted.
That's not true.
Because if you watch it again, watch the game clock at the bottom of your screen.
Unofficial.
All zeros.
Unofficial.
All zeros.
They reviewed it.
Before that shot gets taken. And give her credit. That's like a 35-foot, nothing but nylon.
And she hit the
Give
crowd
her
with a whole
40.
too.
That gave her 40.
But it was after the buzzer. It should not have counted.
Before the buzzer.
But because she's, the Larry Bird of the ladies' game.
Right.
And it is a very large logo, to be fair.
Yeah.
So it's not like Steph Curry from the logo. It's like a big logo.
Right.
Yeah,
the beak.
It's like,
the beak on the Hawkeye.
It was almost a free throw.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what to say, but hey, officiating crew in the Caitlin Clark game.
What the?
Meanwhile, she's money good. That dude can.
She can play.
That dude, that's not right.
She can play.
Yeah, she can play.
She can play.
She can ball.
She can
as
go
they
get
say. And I've got one more for you. David Ortiz, who I believe is a colleague of ours, right? Here on Fox baseball coverage.
We like
Pretty
Big
sure
Poppy.
Big Poppy's on Fox baseball coverage. He did a gender reveal. I hate gender reveals.
Me too.
That being the case, I love when Red Sox strike out. It makes me happy as a New York baseball fan. Here's David Ortiz's gender reveal. He's got the bat. Here comes the pitch.
Yeah.
He swings right through the net.
Oh,
Misses.
Big Poppy.
Poppy.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, pitches inside.
It's the boy.
Plate.
So he's having a boy. So congratulations to David Ortiz and his family. They're expecting a beautiful baby boy. But that boy's going to come into the world knowing Daddy struck out.
He did, but he didn't.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he didn't strike out 4 months ago.
Right.
Yes, but yesterday he did.
I'm a fan of gender reveals.
I hate gender
I had an
reveals.
epic one. I'm gonna try to get it for you.
You had a what?
I had a real epic one.
Oh, I thought you said an ethnic one.
Oh, it was ethnic too. It was.
He's not ethnic.
It was not. It was extremely ethnic.
What did you hide the baby's gender in Mofongo?
No, I was in a dunk tank though. I'm gonna get the video. I'm working on it.
Oh.
I know you like to. I'm just coming. It's coming.
Oh, great tease. We get to see Willie in the dunk tank.
The tease is Willie and his beautiful wife Keisha announced the sex of one of their two beautiful children.
My son. Yeah.
Via a
Don't
dunk
spoil
tank.
it. No spoilers.
I won't spoil it. I'm gonna get it.
Hey, Willie Colon.
What made it ethnic? The dunk tank full of coquito?
Right.
All right, we're having a good time here. We're getting ready for the final week of the NFL season. Still a lot of jockeying for seeds and a couple teams right there trying to get in to the playoffs. One team that's already in are the Kansas City Chiefs. But does anybody believe that this version of the Kansas City Chiefs can make a real run to the Super Bowl? We'll get into that. There's one. There's one that says no right after this. Where am I now? This,
the F block.
The Detroit Lions? We're talking about the Detroit Lions? So the Detroit Lions have fans that I guess have some money. It must be the Ford family. And they took out some billboards regarding the terrible loss to the Dallas Cowboys. That was not their fault.
Got robbed.
And the billboard has the phrase, we'll show it to you right here, Decker Report.
Oh, there you go.
So you got to love that.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time in God knows 20 plus years where the Lion fan is legitimately engaged.
They care.
In the Detroit Lions in the month of January.
Yep.
Because they're going to be there. They're going to be in the playoffs, of course, and won the division. But they also got a little creative. That was not the only billboard that Lion fans bought. Here's another one.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yeah, they're big fans of our show as well. That one, full screen, please. That one says, "We love Kristen Harper too, Craig."
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay.
That one stops traffic right there.
I'll be late for work.
And there's another one that Lion fans bought. It's a digital video board.
Okay.
Here's the next one they bought.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. Listen to Willis.
It's a tattoo.
Yeah.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
Yeah. And then.
Put that on your back.
Yeah, more?
And then I'm being told that Kansas City Chiefs fans put together some of their barbecue money, and they wrote that one.
Oh.
Catch the ball.
Feelings.
Not feelings. I'm not quite sure.
That's a good
that
one.
I
in
feel
Detroit.
like if you're the Detroit Lions
Don't catch
fan
feelings.
and you get the Decker Reported billboard, you put that in Dallas, not in Detroit.
Yeah.
Like I would rather.
Or
that
you
be
put
in
it on
Dallas.
Park Ave in front of the NFL building.
There you go.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, from there, let's stay in the world of NFL football and kick it over to Jacoby for First and Football.
First down, we are going to Buffalo, where we have head coach Sean McDermott being asked, hey, it's great you guys are winning and everything, but what happened to Stefon Diggs? Here he is on the roll of Diggs in the offense.
Oh.
Just Josh going through his reads and going through his progressions and making sure that, we're making sure we're going through the progressions properly getting Steph involved. As to your point, he hasn't been as involved maybe as much as we would have liked the last couple of games.
But that guy's office looks like he thought he was getting fired a couple weeks to go. He ain't got
a boxes of duct tape.
He ain't got a picture. Where's the family picture?
He's ready to wrap that up.
Yeah.
Screensaver, nothing on the desk.
That's like you got 20 minutes to pack. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, just burn all this stuff. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No problem.
Look, I respect what Sean McDermott's done here because, Sean McDermott was halfway out the door. So they chose Ken Dorsey as the fall guy. Clue that was the right decision. As your offense has been money good since Dorsey, got fired. Then you had the controversy from the 9/11 comments, which do date back to 2019 when he was the golden child in Buffalo, having gotten them out of the abyss and taking the Bills back to the playoffs, and of course winning AFC's titles that started, in 2019. So then he was at this crossroads this year. And it's funny because I do think there's a juxtaposition between the Bills and their issues and the Eagles and their issues.
Yep.
In Philly, they're turning their backs on their head coach and they're pointing fingers and they're now blaming him, Nick Sirianni. In Buffalo, it went the other way.
They rallied.
Now, as I told you, I'm dear friends with someone on the board of the Buffalo Bills. And what happened when that 2019 story came back out and the Bills were kind of in no man's land when it came to what their identity was this year, if they were going to get back on track and make a run to the playoffs, they rallied. They rallied around the head coach, meaning the locker room respects the head coach. You don't get that in every city when things are going the wrong way. And since that moment, they have played really good, smart football. Not the greatest, performances week after week, but they have found ways to win. And that, to me, is a testament to really good coaching and a veteran locker room that recognizes, man, we can't throw away another opportunity because we have this little small window where we've won 3 straight AFC's titles. We've been close to the mountaintop, but not quite there because of Mahomes and the Chiefs. Are we really going to throw all this into the garbage?
Right.
And they've all come together collectively. And to me, that starts with Stefon Diggs. Because Stefon Diggs historically has been a me-first guy reputationally. I can't say it's fact or not, but reputationally it's, if he doesn't get 10 looks a game, he's a pain in the ass. And all of a sudden, after they fired Ken Dorsey and they recognize that James Cook is a great running back and should be featured more in the offense, Stefon Diggs is averaging about 4 catches a game, about 50 yards, 40 yards a game, 1 touchdown in the last month. But he bought into it. Yep. He bought into the knowledge that we have a better chance to get back to where we want to be by having other people get involved. Now, don't get it twisted. He wants the ball 15 times a game, and he's good enough to get it. But as opposed to having an offense where Josh Allen, every time he drops back, has to look at Stefon Diggs and not anybody else because he doesn't want the guy yelling and screaming on the sideline, that becomes one-dimensional really quickly, and every other NFL defense can stop that. But if I'm a defensive coordinator, and now I got to worry about Cook out of the backfield, and they got a badass rookie tight end who's really good, and by the way, Gabe Davis, as good a number 2 as anybody in the league, it makes my job tougher.
Yeah, but if you want to go to the mountaintop, like you said, you got to live in both worlds, right? Like, you need James Cook to be that factor, and he's been great. But you still need Stefon Diggs to be that guy. You talk about in the first 9 games, 70 catches, 7 touchdowns. He was a key factor. He was the X factor. But if you're Josh Allen, and we consider you an all-world quarterback, having a run game helps you, no doubt. You're playing with a patchwork defense that's done a great job thus far. But you got to find a way to get Stefon Diggs and Gabe Davis into the offense because you're going to need them, especially if you plan on.
And let me tell you something else. They're going to beat the Dolphins this weekend.
They are.
By the way,
that's nice. That's
that
great.
might be a Friday bagel and lock day. It might be. It might be.
I just want the bagels.
Bagels and locks are 20-0 in the 2 years of this show, and we don't do it every week because it's got to be a special game. But how in the world are the Buffalo Bills favored in Miami against the Miami Dolphins?
Because they watched the tape.
No, I watched the tape too. I watched a lot of Bills games. Let me tell you something. They snuck past the Chargers. They had some trouble with the Patriots. Josh Allen hasn't been the best the last couple of weeks. They're like, on paper, it's like a bunch of wins. They're rolling. Best team in the AFC. They're going to challenge the Ravens. But you watch the games, there's a lot of reason to be concerned.
And let me tell you something else. And I know I'm getting a little in the weeds here. I apologize.
Get in the weeds.
The Bills beat Miami. That is bad news for these guys.
The Chiefs?
That is bad news.
That means Miami goes on the road.
Bad news for Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because Miami will go into Kansas City and put 30 on the board against that Chiefs defense.
Sometimes when you guys you guys don't watch the same game. Did you not see Tua get knocked out of that game with a strained shoulder? Did you see that offensive
I heard
line
Mike McDaniel say he's not concerned.
You see that defense get beat up?
Listen.
Why do you think the Dolphins are going to do anything?
Let's just wait a week.
Hold on.
We'll come in next Monday, and when it's real and it's happening, again, like I told you it would, we can debate Kansas City's attempt to beat Miami. I'll give you the first round upset of the NFL playoff season. Miami goes into Kansas City and embarrasses the Kansas City Chiefs.
He's predicting the Bills to beat the and then going the
But
second.
Jacoby, he's the same guy who said believe in Mahomes. If all people believe in Mahomes, now we don't believe in Mahomes?
No, I think Mahomes will be fine. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Let's go to second down because we're talking about those Kansas City Chiefs. It is Justin Reed, the safety for the Chiefs. He knows they've had some ups and some downs, but he also knows that doesn't matter anymore, and here's why.
And the greatest part about the playoffs is now that you have a ticket to the dance, none of what you did before matters anymore. You want to get hot at the right time, and I feel like we're catching our stride and approaching the playoffs in that place that we want to be, where all of our dreams are still in front of us.
He's got a point. Yeah. Wipe the records away. We got Patrick Mahomes. We're coming together right now. We got a chance. What are the chances that the Chiefs make a run to the Super Bowl?
They're not. They're going to lose in the first round to the Miami Dolphins. You can book that right now.
We're seeing.
And here's the deal. Quick quiz, NFL fans. How many wins do the Kansas City Chiefs have in this country against teams that are in the playoffs?
2.
1. And it was week 2. Against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 17-9. The Kansas City Chiefs do not have a single win on American soil against a team that's going to be in the playoffs the entire year. They only got 2 total. One, of course, is in week 2 against the Jaguars in Jacksonville, 17-9. And the other one was against the Miami Dolphins in Frankfurt, Germany.
Weird game.
Right? And that was a 21-0 first half for Kansas City, 14-0 second half for the Miami Dolphins. So all the talk about the Chiefs and resetting in the playoffs, Reed's not wrong about that. You know, that should be the mindset. All of our problems, let's shed it like a snakeskin and get back to Chiefs football. Here's the problem. We made fun of the Miami Dolphins schedule this year. Oh, they didn't beat anybody. We made fun of the Dallas Cowboys schedule this year. Oh, they didn't beat anybody. Where's the signature win? And all that stuff. I own it. I was the voice saying it. We never said that about Kansas City.
No.
And all of a sudden, when you take a look at it, and they've not played great football the last 6-7 weeks, right? A lot of losses in there. When you take a look at it, they have not beaten a playoff team in this country since week 2. They are not beating the Miami Dolphins.
Justin Reed says we're coming together at the right time. I feel like we're hitting our stride. You got to get momentum going in the playoffs. I'm like, I just watched you lose to the Raiders.
Yeah, but you also see them beat up on the Bengals. The defense has 6 sacks. They actually proved they can win with the defense leading the charge.
Against a backup quarterback.
It doesn't matter. You was the first one loving Jake Browning. You killed my soul.
I never liked Jake Browning. Jake Browning's a backup quarterback.
See, Jake Browning won in Jacksonville. You was like, oh, look at Jake Browning.
Say also backup quarterback, Joe Flacco.
Like, to me, I know Kansas City's going crazy right now. Oh, our defense is, peaking at the right time.
They are.
You beat a backup quarterback. Stop. Please, I'm begging you.
But they rebounded after getting run through by the Raiders. That's how you want to respond. You got to give them the flowers for that.
Just remember this. What's today's date? January 9th?
No, 3rd.
Or the 3rd. It's already the 3rd. The month's flying by. Yeah. January 3rd. Yep. I'm saying, I'll put it up on the receipt board. The Miami Dolphins are losing to the Bills. That's a lock and a wrap. They are going to Kansas City, and they are going to put a 30-burger on the Kansas City Chiefs. And you could say you heard it here first, like most things that are right in the world of sports.
Chiefs by 7.
I love this because you're not picking a game. You're picking a game and then picking the implications of that game.
I got you.
This is 4K chess.
Don't be silly. Listen to Willie.
Here's the deal.
Chiefs.
Coming up after the break. We only have, I think, 2 of these left. It is once again the AFC and NFC power rankings. It's the NFL Mountain.
Let's go, baby.
And it's Mountain NFS. Every week, NFL teams enter the arena, sharing one lofty goal: to climb above the competition. Who will stand at the peak this week? only one can wear the precious crown as the king of the mountain.
It's mountain time, baby! Mountain! Bring it on in! Mountain! Go, the Critty! The Critty's back! Climb it, Craig!
Here's the beauty of the mountain. I will share in a little bit. It has been money good.
Yeah.
Week after week, despite a lot of your protests.
What?
Sadly, there's some teams that are not going to make the mountain this week. So just get rid of a couple teams that you might think are on the borderline of being on the mountain. But sadly,
I could get one of them.
on the New York Jets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Now look, I know everyone thought maybe the Jets make a run.
Yeah.
They did.
What's their get-in scenario?
The Jets get-in scenario is 2027.
Exactly.
So they're out.
Get out.
Okay.
A lot of people thought a week ago that the Bengals.
That's true.
No, Bengals had a shot. They were alive. Sorry, Jake Browning.
Get out of here.
Not on the list. Look, 2 weeks ago, there was a chance that the Denver Broncos.
Oh, that's right.
They could have overtaken the Kansas City Chiefs, but of course they lost to New England, so sorry,
Get 'em
Sean
outta
Payton.
here.
Not on the list. And then one more team not on the list. Been a great story. Playing game this weekend, the Texans. Now, they might get into the playoffs
Yeah, still got a shot.
if they beat Indianapolis, but they're not quite good enough
Maybe next
right
week?
now.
Maybe next week?
Well, look, a month ago, they were on the mountain. C.J. Stroud goes down. That is not a knock on the Texans. They're right on the precipice, but they're not on the mountain this week.
Get 'em out.
Sorry, not sorry.
Get out of here.
All right, so number 4 in the AFC. I've kind of set the table for what's going to happen. They are going to lose this weekend, but don't worry.
Put 'em on the
The
mountain.
Miami Dolphins.
Great job, Tom.
The Miami Dolphins are in the middle of a free fall collapse. So how in the world can you put them
That's what I'm saying.
on the mountain?
It's a great
That's
question.
Here's
where I'm
why. Because they're going to lose to the Buffalo Bills. They're going to choke away the division.
Okay.
And then everyone's
on the
going to
mountain.
count them out. I love the concept of Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes.
And Waddle coming back healthy. And Tyreek Hill. And I'm knee deep in the midseason Hard Knocks. I'm loving it. The Miami Dolphins will be left for dead. No one's going to think about them as a Super Bowl contender. And they're going to go into Kansas City and upset the Kansas City Chiefs. So you got to be patient, Dolphin fans. This week, bad news. You lose to the Bills. You come right back with an upset win, and you'll be playing in the second round of the playoffs, and it may be a rematch against the Baltimore Ravens. And
They don't want that smoke.
Right,
They don't.
Baltimore wants no.
No, Miami don't want that smoke.
All right, so we're off on that one. All right, your third team. This is pretty simple. They're the best of all the wild card teams in the AFC.
Bills.
And they're led by old man
Flacco!
You guys know I have a love affair with the city of Cleveland.
Yes, you do.
I lived there for a year from 92 to 93, had season tickets in the Dog Pound. I know Bernie Kosar. I met Brian Sight. It's where me and Bill Belichick first bonded before he tore my heart out as a friend.
I know.
In any event, the Cleveland Browns are for real. Why? They've got a badass defense. Defense is travel. I do think they'll be in the market for Dalvin Cook. I think it's a great idea. You have the best quarterback tight end combination in the sport right now with Joe Flacco and David Njoku. The only concern I have about the Cleveland Browns right now in the moment is the commitment to running, and whether it's Ford or Kareem Hunt, if they don't get Dalvin Cook, are we committing 15 to 20 carries to either one of those guys? And let's be fair, as you said, for every 2 touchdowns Flacco throws,
You get picked.
it's a
Combo deal.
Combo deal.
It's like when you go to the home goods store and it's a BOGO sale. Right. You get one, you give one.
There you go.
You get one, you give one.
There you go.
That's my only concern. Joe Flacco picked 6 in the fourth quarter, but I love you, Cleveland.
Hot couple, Joe.
You are third right now.
Joe.
All right. That brings me to number 2. It's a little surprise, I'll be honest about it.
At number 2?
I spent all night yesterday thinking about it. When sour diesel didn't help, came back around to the Altis mushrooms, and that didn't help. And that's how I came up with the AFC East champions, the Buffalo Bills.
Let's go, Buffalo.
Now, to be fair, I also lived in Buffalo for 7 months back in 1991 to 92. I think the Bills are hot. I think the Bills have that little intangible mojo going for them right now. I do think they beat the Dolphins this week. I do think they're in the AFCs. That means they host a playoff game.
Yes.
And with James Cook becoming a go-to part of that offense, the Buffalo Bills are going to win a couple playoff games. And I would not be surprised if you get a Bills-Ravens AFC Championship game.
I support that.
Yeah, look, number one's a no-brainer. No reason to discuss.
There you go. Hey. You can't put pants on the gorilla.
Where do you want me to put?
Right. Get up there.
Where do you?
Clap it out there.
Yeah. Best team in football.
All right. Baltimore Ravens, right now, I know they're not the favorite to win the Super Bowl. They should be. They are the best team in the AFC, so that's the no-brainer. There is your AFC side of the mountain.
There you go. Good mountain so far.
All right. Let's now go to the NFC. Look, you never blame a team for how they win, even when it had nothing to do with them. Even when it's the referees that gave them a W. The Dallas Cowboys are NFC East champions.
How about them Cowboys?
Okay.
Here's my problem with the Cowboys. You say, well, if they're NFC East champions, and they're going to get a couple home playoff games, how are they not second or third, right? Fair question. And it's what we've discussed really all day today. I'm not in love with their running game, and I haven't bought into the notion that in a one-score game, if their defense takes the field, they make the stop. Low-hanging fruit. They did not do it against the Lions. They did not do it against the Miami Dolphins. So right now we can talk about Dak all you want, and the rushing attack, and you're becoming myopic, and tunnel vision. Where's CeeDee Lamb? Where's CD? And no one else gets the ball. My concern is beyond that. My concern is that defense in a big spot, because in back-to-back weeks they have not gotten the job done. But the Cowboys are money good, so they are fourth on the list, which brings me to number 3.
What we got?
I never lived here. But
shocker.
But living in Cleveland, I was once offered a job to do morning radio at WTF in Detroit.
All right, Detroit.
Yeah. What? The problem is the guy that offered me the job didn't show up for the meeting, so I was in and out of Detroit in 3 hours. It is a dump. But love the blue-collar people of Detroit. And I love Jared Goff, hot fiance. They got a great passing attack. My concern for Detroit starts when they leave Detroit. They are a very good home team. They are a very good indoor team. I start getting worried about Detroit when they try to take that act outside, especially on the road, obviously on the road, come into mid-January. The other concern I have for them, and I think Dan Campbell's good enough to coach to overcome it, Jared Goff has not been great the last 4 weeks. He has not protected the football.
No.
That being said, they can run the ball when they want to run the ball. Two-headed monster. They've got a legit stud wide receiver. And say what you want about Jared Goff, the man did go to a Super Bowl.
That's true.
So he's got experience in the postseason. And Detroit's a feel-good story. Plus, they got screwed by the official last week. I think they rebound from that, beat Minnesota with their backups, and host a playoff game for the first time in 30 years. I love you, Detroit. You're third.
All right.
Detroit, what?
Now, I think it's fair to say we are the only show in America that jumped on the Ram wagon early, and I'm staying on.
How about the Rams? All right, Rowdy.
Now, I know what you're going to say. But the Rams, a wild card team, that's a division winner. That's a division winner. Here's why. These two teams are playing each other. So you know how I feel about that game. I ain't going to be shocked if the Rams go into Detroit and give them all they want and then some. Plus, it is the Wag Bowl.
It's the Wag Bowl, yeah.
You've got Sean McVay's beautiful wife. You've got Jared Goff's beautiful fiance. I can't pick between them.
Right. Are you invited to the wedding?
There's something to be said about teams going into the playoffs riding high. The Rams are going to be riding as high as any team. Here's the other rub on the Rams. This week's game against San Francisco means nothing. Everybody rests. Matthew Stafford's had a lot of injuries throughout his career. He will go into that playoff game healthy as an ox. The Rams pose problems for Detroit defensively. More on that next week. But you got to give the Rams love. I discounted them a year ago, almost to the day, as a team that was going to be rebuilding for the next 5 years and looking for a new head coach. I got that wrong. Great job by McVay. Great job by Stafford. They're number 2 on the mountain.
All right now.
Great job by you two. Great job by you two.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now,
Ram it.
back on the step stool because you know what it is. We all know what it is. It's San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like if you put out a list and San Fran and Baltimore ain't on the top of the list, then you shouldn't put out lists.
That's true.
You should be banned for putting out lists. And just to prove a point, it's easy today, January 13th, you said? It's easy. It's easy today to put San Francisco, they're the number 1 seed. They get a bye. It's easy today to put the Ravens up there, number 1 seed, they get a bye. But what would you say about a show? A little show, like the little engine that could. A little show that, people are just finding out about. A little show that's kind of operating its own little vacuum over here on the side, like the Carton Show, the Carton Show, the Carton Show. What if I told you that the Carton Show was on Baltimore, San Francisco, I don't know, 2 months ago?
True.
Yeah. Roll the tape.
Oh.
And once again, hanging out with King Kong, Lamar Jackson, and the Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers.
Look at that.
The obvious number 1, bang again, the Baltimore Ravens. All right, the game is in Philadelphia. Okay, who's favored? San Fran. They're the better team, the Baltimore Ravens. Yet again, the number 1 team, the San Francisco 49ers. And the number 1 team, it's obvious, let's put it up there, the Baltimore Ravens. And now, of course, the obvious number 1 team.
How about the Niners?
Interesting. So for 2 months, the mountain has been dead on, and they wind up the number 1 seeds. It's almost like we know what we're talking about. It's rare, I know. It's rare. Because wait to hear my take on the Knicks coming up in a couple of minutes. Anyhow, that's your mountain. San Fran, the Rams, the Lions, the Cowboys. On the AFC side, you get the Ravens, you get the Bills, you get the Browns, you get the Dolphins. You can argue amongst yourselves online all you want. We got much more show coming your way, and that includes the hot seat in Nick Sirianni's life right now. It's real. And it's fantastic. Right after this.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Primetime Show. We have your early morning headlines, and we start with that man right there, head coach of the New England Patriots. But for how long? There's been a lot of speculation about whether or not this will be his last year as a head coach of the Patriots. He was asked about that, and obviously he dodged the question.
Whatever success I have had, I've tried to go about my job the same way every week. Win, lose, good years, bad years, whatever they are, on a week-to-week basis. I mean, I don't want to spend time or get caught up in, what happened 5 years ago or what's going to happen 2 years from now or, a bunch of other random stuff. So just working on the Jets.
The Jets game is in Foxborough. Yeah. Is this going to be the last game that Bill Belichick coaches for the New England Patriots?
It's apropos that this game is against the New York Jets. If it is his last game, and it seems like there's no smoke, there's fire, that Bill Belichick and the Patriots are going to part ways.
So hot. So hot.
Look, it is what it is. We're that show.
We were just slicing meats for 2 hours.
I mean, I can roll the make if you want. I'm still me. It's apropos that the end of the season against the Jets from both sides, right? On the New England side, you've owned the Jets for 2 decades. Yeah. They mean nothing to you outside of the little Rex Ryan experiment, right? Mm-hmm. To the Jets, they represent everything that has haunted you for 20 years, from division titles to Super Bowls, having a quarterback, all that stuff. Robert Sala's embattled. It'd be a great end of a terrible season for him and the Jets to kind of get that monkey off their back. They haven't beaten the Patriots since 2015. Like, that's real, right? Wow. So the fact that you can end that streak and kind of go into the offseason at least having cleansed one palate, and that's New England, would be great. But we all know better. We're Jet fans. Yeah. And as Jet fans, somehow, some way, that son of a bitch is going to figure out how to get Bailey Zappi to throw a touchdown in the fourth quarter against our vaunted defense and absolutely, screw us going into the offseason. Yeah. But I tell you what I want.
What you want?
And I don't ask for much. My hope is that with about 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and the New York Jets have solidified a win, we can all celebrate the fact that Bill... I don't know how to do it.
Read the instructions, Craig. Hey!
I messed up. Oh, damn it.
Other way, Craig. Oh.
Damn it.
One more time. You can do it, buddy. Hey!
I've never seen nobody struggle with a confetti stick in my life.
With a padlock.
It literally has directions with arrows on it. Like, what are you doing?
No one's ever read the instructions before.
Hey, give me a couple more.
But Craig, this is the thing, though.
So again, sorry. So I do think it's the end, most likely,
Yes.
Belichick in New England. It'd be great if the New York Jets can end it for them as a Jet fan. But really the big story to me is, what's the destination?
Yep.
That becomes more paramount. Like, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest coach of all time, more Super Bowl wins than anyone's ever going to have. So he will get his appropriate, day in Canton, Ohio, in the Hall of Fame. But to me, there's two potential stories. It's one you asked about for sure. Is this the end of Bill Belichick? And that has legs, and you discuss it, and all that. But to me, the far more interesting story is whatever team did make the playoffs that feels like, man, it was because of coaching, that wants Belichick, or whatever team in the playoffs has that disappointing, first-round exit type of deal, who now says, I know we got the pieces, we can go get that guy. And to me, that reeks of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, believe it or not, obviously
Chargers.
Teams that didn't make it, like the Chargers. And if you're Bill Belichick, one of the reasons he said to Greg Hill on the radio in Boston yesterday that he doesn't pay it any mind is because he knows. He's going to make $20 million a year. He's pretty close to it right now already. And he's going to have his pick of the litter. Like, if I'm a team that is questioning my head coach moving forward, and I do believe that Bill Belichick is going to be available, then I wait, because he's the only guy I want. Now, there's going to be a competition for it.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers, Cowboys, Eagles, name a team that disappoints in the postseason. And that's why Bill Belichick is saying, I'll worry about the Jets. The contract stuff will work itself out, because he knows. He knows whatever job he wants, he takes it.
Yeah, but Craig, are we sure he's going to be coaching next year? Because a little birdie told me he's also great at doing something else. And that's making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Let's go to the film.
Oh, he's a chef?
What we got there?
Very special guest, Coach Bill Belichick.
Oh, yes.
Bill, welcome to the show.
This is what he does great.
Thank you. And I know we have a very special recipe today. One you
special recipe
for many years, but you're going to share it with us today.
Right, it's the BBPBJ.
BBPBJ. What is that?
Bill Belichick's peanut butter and jelly sandwich. To it, Mike, is to spread peanut butter on both sides of the bread.
Oh,
Jelly
first mistake right there.
Doubling up.
Put the jelly right here.
Yeah.
That's why
He always likes double coverage.
Forward thinking like that.
There you go.
By the way, the chef's had a few. I'll tell you a quick funny story about Bill Belichick in Cleveland. So I was on the radio on a station called 3WE AM 1100 in Cleveland, and Bill Belichick and I become fast friends for the year that I was in Cleveland. All right, well documented. So he's in battle there. He benches Bernie Kosar, brings Todd Philcox in, and to show you the wry sense of humor he has a big press conference where they're making announcements about new coaches, coordinators, and all that stuff. And he announces at a major press conference in Cleveland that his new offensive coordinator is me.
Oh.
All right? And he tells the media covering the Browns, for any questions about our offense, go talk to Craig Carton. He's our new offensive coordinator. Now, this goes all the way back to the days of faxes, before there was email. All right? And cell phones. This is a long time ago. And he makes a deal with me that Cleveland Browns fans who listen to my radio show can all fax in a suggested play. And in the final preseason game, first play of the second half, he agrees to wave his hat and run the play that we picked out of thousands of plays that got sent in. And he did. It was a flea flicker to Todd Philcox to throw deep to Eric Metcalf.
Oh, wow.
If you remember Eric Metcalf.
Yeah.
The play didn't work.
Oh, man.
But that's the kind of guy he used to be. And that goes all the way back, to 1992, 93. Yeah.
But you said used to. So what happened to the fun?
What happened to the fun was he won a Super Bowl. And then, kind of like Rex Ryan when he went to AFC Championship games, became a totally different guy. Became Watergate, became GQ, and forgot who he was. And that came with the success.
One thing I find so interesting about this scenario is your team has to be bad enough to want a new head coach, but good enough to be a destination for Bill Belichick. No one said Bill Belichick's going to go to the Commanders.
He's not.
Right?
He's
no one's because so it's an interesting dichotomy where it's like we have to be bad, but we have to be good. We have to be good enough to have Bill Belichick want to coach for us. but bad enough to fire a head coach.
Yeah, I mean, listen, right now, Bill Belichick is 8 games under 500 without Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And that's the stank on him right now. Why can't he win without Brady if he's supposed to be this
Yeah, but if you have 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach,
But
a few more as a coordinator.
laurels?
Yeah, but I mean, when you have that many, you can rest on your laurels for the rest of your life. Like, dude, we acknowledge and put guys in the Hall of Fame who don't have half the careers that Bill Belichick
totally
has had
works.
success-wise. So it's going to be interesting. If we all believe that he's out of New England, and I guess I'll believe it when I see it, because I know Robert Kraft loves him, to me, I do not want to be Nick Sirianni. I do not want to be, assuming they lose in the first round. I do not, frankly, want to be Mike McCarthy if they lose in the first round. The Chargers' job is different. They already fired their head coach, and they're not in the playoffs. But if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm going to try to find, kind of like what Tom Brady did when he chose Tampa, what team is the most ready to win? Tampa was the obvious answer.
Cowboys.
If I'm Belichick, I now do the same damn
Cowboys.
thing.
Yeah.
You could argue Dallas. I could argue
I
Philly.
like Philly. I do like Philly.
But he's going to be with a team that is a lock to be in the postseason next year. And we as Jet fans, I'll probably get this one wrong too.
Oh, God.
Oh! We are this one works.
You nailed it.
We
job,
are going to
Craig.
celebrate. The witch is dead. Oh, no, the witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead. Hey, oh, the witch is dead. The witch is dead.
I thought it was real champagne. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Moving
So-
on to our second headline, and that involves someone you just mentioned, Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles. He was asked by a reporter if he had lost the team.
Yeah, answer yes.
And here's what he had to say.
Look at that face.
Douchey.
No, I'm not concerned about that.
Should be.
You know, we're just looking to get back on the right track. You know, last week against the Giants, got back in the win column. Obviously, didn't happen the exact same way we wanted it to happen, but got in the win column. And then, hey, we dropped this one this week. You know, and the next thing is just to go back to work. And I'm not concerned about that.
I tell you what is concerning if you're an Eagle fan. Look, the Giants game is irrelevant. The Eagles are not obviously winning the division. They're a wild card team. They're going on the road, and we'll figure all that out in a couple days. But if you remember, not this past game, if you remember the game they lost to the Giants 2 weeks ago, but the one that they beat the Giants and before they lost to the Arizona Cardinals, remember that was a tale of two halves. Remember that the New York Giants benched Tommy DeVito in that game and brought in Tyrod Taylor in the second half. And Tyrod Taylor damn near brought them all the way back and beat the Eagles. Slayton deep. That last fourth quarter drive, all of a sudden it's like, we can't stop Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's going to start this game. And I'm not suggesting the New York Giants are going to put 30 on the board like everybody else does.
What?
But I wouldn't be surprised either. Because much like the Jets would love to end their season with a win against a divisional opponent, New England, and end the Bill Belichick reign of terror, if I'm a Giant player, right, what do I want to do? Or if I'm a Giant fan who's going to be at MetLife Stadium on an ugly January 7th day with a nor'easter storm coming in to the East Coast Saturday night into Sunday, boy, if I could beat Philly, end my season on a winning note, and make it even harder for Philly, and really put blood in the water for Nick Sirianni, that would almost be like a playoff win for me.
Yeah, but the problem is the optics, right? The optics from the outside looking in, it looks like Nick Sirianni is losing control of his team.
I think he lost control.
And he can't do anything. Like, you can even pivot to Mike Tomlin at one point where people was like, should he be fired? Do you want it? Mike Tomlin said, hold up. Took control of it. Mason Rudolph to Pickens.
Right.
They're on a 2-game
Tough
winning
decisions.
streak.
But
Tough decisions they had to make. Right now, when you see him and Hassan Reddick getting at each other on the sideline, when you see time after time A.J. Brown looking disgruntled, when you see, mind you, this is a win. They're winning the game. It's 26 seconds left in the game, and he's arguing with Hassan Reddick. Like, how is that possible? I've never seen a coach yell at another player when you're winning the game and you're beating the Giants. By a game that you squeezed out by the...
All right, so let me ask you a tactical question here. I know we only have a couple minutes to go. They're not playing for anything, right? Do you play Jalen Hurts in this game? Do you play your offense in this game just to try to get a feel-good drive and then sit down?
You have to because of the way you looked the last time you played the Giants.
Yes.
You have to.
You treat it like a preseason game where you guys got to get out there, show me something.
Put up 21
Okay,
points.
so play that out. I don't disagree with you guys, but play it out. If the idea is, I just want one, it could be scripted, but I need one,
75-yard
goal line
drive.
to goal line drive, score a touchdown, feel good about ourselves, and then sit my stars down. But what if you start the game with that mindset and they don't play well.
Go back
and
out.
they struggle.
Go back out.
All right, now I need a second drive.
Yep.
Well, that ended in an interception. Now I need a third drive.
Okay, now you
like
sit
at
down.
what point
Now
do
you
you
sit
say?
down.
Stay out there till it looks right. Bottom line.
Got it. All right.
Stay out there.
All right. I would not be shocked if none of them play.
Really?
Would not surprise me one bit that if Marcus Mariota is the starting, if Marcus Mariota is the starting quarterback of the Eagles, that would not shock me.
Craig,
But they can still win the division, right?
Reference something you said
Dallas
yesterday.
wins, they win.
Oh.
They got to get the stank off. The Eagles
Yeah, I'm
just
with
got to
you.
get
I'm
the
with
stank
you.
off.
Yeah.
They got to get the stank off.
Well, then listen, there's a burrito place in San Diego
Okay.
that Molly Crew used to go to before they went home. I'm not sure if you're aware of that story, but let's all celebrate the demise of Bill Belichick and the Eagles. Undisputed's next. Have yourselves a great day.
Make me
We'll see
a
you tomorrow
P&J.
morning on FS1.